TGIF, everyone. We will get started shortly. While waiting for people to gather, let me tell you about Regime Week. On Monday nights from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, Cerulean Gray discusses political, social, and economics on his channel, Gray Regime. Tuesday night is the 1/3 show with DeAndre at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on his channel, Just DeAndre, where he discusses articles and has a series of particular topics. Wednesday night is a doubleheader. DJ Music's internet radio station, Classic R&B Jams, broadcasts the shows On the Beat and Keep the Beat. On the Beat showtime is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and hosted by DJ Music along with co-host Char Willie, where they discuss things going on in the news. 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the segment Keep the Beat, hosted with Char Willie and Classic Ruby. They discuss certain songs, tell stories, and take you back down memory lane. There is an interactive chat room with emojis and GIFs. There is also a lot of twerking in that chat room. The show is wild. You do have the opportunity to financially support the channel in order to help it grow. So, in the very least of that matter, please like, share, and subscribe. If you need advice for yourself or a friend, send an email, JustAskChar@gmail.com. Thank you, everyone, for joining the show. And now, here's your host, Char Willie.
Greetings, TGIF. What is going on, good people? Thank you so much for coming to the show. Hope you had a great week. It was a little rough, I guess you would say, for me. Just a little bit. I know one thing, it was really warm in Chicago. For whatever reason, the temps went up to the 90s. I'm not used to that. It's been a long time since we really had 90 degrees, a long time. And the air conditioner, it got to work out this week. I sure tried to be cheap and have it off for a little while. That fan just did not do it with the humidity and all of that. It wasn't working, so I had to keep it on. It is what I had to do. Other than that, what else is going on? Well, not to scare anyone, but when you go grocery shopping, I want you guys to pay attention to the shelves. See if they're kind of empty on certain things. Because I don't know what was going on today. I wanted some eggs and I went to Whole Food, a couple of things I wanted to pick up. And that shelf was kind of empty. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? Where are the eggs? Why are there just only the $10 eggs are here? Okay, I may be exaggerating. They weren't $10, but they were about seven, probably with tax. But I know I've seen some for $5.99. There might have been some a little bit more expensive, but it was $5.99. And that's just too much for me. I like to get brown eggs. Started eating those more than the white eggs, but their shelf was kind of empty, and I just didn't feel too good about that. So please recognize that there's something going on. So you may want to start picking up a few canned goods. Um, you know, don't go get too wild, but as far as with food, get what you need and maybe a little extra. And then also for your toiletries, you might want to start looking at that before someone just wipes us out again. And you go for a roll and there's nothing there but a paper sign. So I don't know. It's been kind of interesting. Oh, look who has arrived. Well, let me put them on the stream and get the sound effects going. It is the classic Ruby, everyone. Yes.
Hello, 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 my adoring fans. It's okay. Please, please sit down. Sit down. You're embarrassing me. Uh, Why, good evening, Shar. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
This virus. Hey, listen, it is not COVID-19. I was tested, y'all. So now this is an interesting fact. So I want to test this, right? Because it was, oh, we're so scared. It could be COVID-19. You can't go nowhere. So I got tested, and then I quarantined, and the test came back negative, right? So I want to see what happens now when I go somewhere and they go, "You have a fever. You can't come in." And then I show them my screen and I go, "I was tested and I'm negative. I should be allowed in." Right? I want to see what happens. I'm just like, I'm not going to be like all one of those crazy mask people or anti-maskers, but isn't that the whole thing? Like, you avoid going out because you don't want to spread COVID-19 just in case. I don't have COVID-19. I proved it. I just have a fever and I don't know, some other horrible virus that's not COVID-19. So, I want to test the theory. I want to see what happens. I'm going to go be brave, y'all. Wish me luck. I don't
Okay. Well, I know when I was out, I looked around and there were some folks out there with no masks on. They just was hanging
Yeah.
out on the corner, just having a good old time. Now it is I don't know what the high was today, but I know it was really humid. So I'm just gonna say 90.
Okay.
And wearing a mask 90 degrees is not that comfortable. So I do get it, but it was just too many people without any type of mask. I didn't even think they had it around their, one ear hanging.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they
Mm-hmm.
had it at all.
Oh no, there's a lot of people. Again, the anti-masker movement is real, and tomorrow we're going to talk about the consequences of this anti-masking sentiment that people have. Some people who've decided, oh, we don't have to wear masks, we're just fine. Hey, guess what? There are still impacts. So, it's unfortunate. I mean, those people freak me out, Shar. I'm telling you, like. I was in the elevator, right? Someone stepped into the elevator, no mask on their face. And I almost threw myself against the wall furthest away from them when they came in, right? Like, ah! Like I had a
Oh,
mask on and everything, but I don't know. Just it's almost like I don't feel safe being around people who don't have masks on. Like I don't know. It's almost like what you're already infected for life, so you don't care. You don't need to wear a mask anymore because everyone else, like I don't get it. I don't get them. I like my life too much. You know, that's just what it comes down to. I like living and being able to breathe and not having permanent, damage to my lungs and my sinuses and all kinds of things from some virus. Call me crazy. I, I don't know.
not crazy at all.
Right.
We just take our precautions like we should, and that's all we can do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I do get it. It's warm. You're like, forget this. But real soon it'll start getting cool and damp and then cold and dark.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd be probably back at where we were, square one. We'll see. But
Mm-hmm.
do be warned about, getting a couple of things that you may need, food and all. So, um,
Yeah, I was just saying that to Mr. Ruby, right? You can't let keeping all of our reserves stocked up. You can't let that slide now because the emergency doesn't feel so emergent anymore. Like you still got to keep uh your cupboards full. Make sure you keep, like you were saying, your canned goods and stuff. Make sure you've got packages of just like rice and pasta and potatoes, stuff that lasts for like years without refrigeration. Just keep stuff loaded up still. You don't forget the lessons you learned at the start of COVID-19 and go back to being an irresponsible bachelor type of person when it comes to stocking up your kitchen. Like just keep your freezer stocked, keep your cabinets stocked. So just in case of anything, even if it's 6 months down the road, if you keep everything stocked up, then the next time there's any kind of emergency, you're safe. Why not just live that way? Grown folk used to do it all the time.
I agree. I
Hmm.
agree.
Exactly.
All right. Well, today we have a letter, and the letter is from, let's see, it was titled The Independent Wife and Mother. That was the original letter I received last year. And I'll be playing that. Um, Now, it's a lot in this letter.
Hmm.
The author of the letter also gives advice and talks a little bit about himself. So after I play it, I'm going to give you the points to focus on, which is the person that he's writing about that needs the advice. Okay?
Okay. All right.
All right, good deal. And again, greetings everyone that came in. Thank you for joining the show. Just one moment. Let me share the screen. All right, independent wife and mother. Oops, I forgot to hit audio. I haven't had audio in a while. All right, let's see. Can I go back out? Let's stop it and pull it back up. All right, well, it'll take me a second, but while I'm doing that, um, what else? I'm trying to think, is there anything else I noticed besides the weather? It's just been warmer here. I was saying that before you arrived.
Right.
And I know I've heard people were talking about they were a little afraid as far as tornadoes and stuff. Um,
Oh. This
yeah.
this is like tornado season. I don't know. I live somewhere where there are no natural disasters. Uh, so not necessarily not in all of Ontario, but just in the greater Toronto area, we don't really have natural disasters. Like there was this one minuscule earthquake that happened, and I was outside in my car at the time and didn't notice that it happened. People who were sitting still apparently noticed it. I was devastated because it was probably like my only shot to really feel an earthquake, and it was just like we don't get stuff like that. So I don't know, like with tornado,
You
okay.
you missed it? What?
Yeah, it was apparently I mean, people really, really noticed, and we were sitting in traffic. I remember I was with one of my parents. We were sitting in traffic, and everything was like gridlocked, like the way rush hour traffic gets. It was annoying, and we're like, and we're on our way to some appointment. I can't remember what appointment I had. We're on our way to it though, and then we got there and everyone's talking about this earthquake. We're like, oh my God, there was an earthquake? When was there an earthquake? Oh my God, when was the earthquake? Was it in the middle of the night? Like, I'm trying to figure out, was it at, 9 o'clock in the morning? They're like, no, the one that just happened. Oh, where did it happen? California? I'm trying to name, no, they're like, the one that happened here just now, like 20 minutes ago. I'm like, what? Here? No, no, I was outside and everything. I would have felt it, right? No. Apparently it was so mild that in a moving car, on the highway, didn't notice it. And unfortunately, I mean, some people were super freaked out and other people were like they rarely noticed it and they were sitting still. So I don't know. It's the only one we ever had though.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And let me get started here. Turn the volume all the way up that it can be. All right. There we go. Today I have a letter from a young man, and I'm ready to get started. He writes, one of my old Army buddies contacted me about a year ago by Facebook and later called me to do some catching up. On his page, it looked like everything was going well. He had pictures of his family and friends. He had a new young wife and young children. I thought, wow, I'm glad to see things are going well. The phone conversations began with calls maybe once every couple of months, but later became more frequent. Once a month became twice a month, then once a week, and recently he called twice in 1 week. We're both men, and men don't usually roll like that, so I knew something was up. Not by just the frequency of his calls to offload, but also by the subject matter. He danced around the issue, which was at the heart of his problem, and that was his wife. So finally, I came out and asked him straight up, what's the deal? The floodgates opened up. Like me, he is a divorcee and remarried to a younger woman. They have children, and in the course of their 6-year marriage, she pursued her education while he worked. Now that she has gotten her education, he is no longer good enough, and the respect that he used to get from her is no longer there. He told me that she said that he had wasted all of his time and that he should be on her level. Mind you, this woman is living in this man's home that he owned before they married. He has his own money, and she basically came to the table with nothing but her beauty. I will admit, she is a cute little thing. In fact, she is quite the knockout, even after having 2 babies by him. Anyway, he complained that he can no longer deal with her, but they have 2 young children that she herself cannot control, but he can because he is the disciplinarian of the home. She no longer cooks or cleans. She has a job and is pursuing her new career at the expense of the household. She shops constantly and went out and bought a new car without talking to him about it, and he still carries all the bills of the home and contributes to the children's college fund. He wants to leave her, but he is ultimately concerned about his children. Like me, he has a son and daughter, and he does not want his children to go to his wife. Therefore, he stays and endures for their sake. I, however, advise him differently. I told him that if a woman doesn't respect him in his home, then she can kick rocks. The respect that he once had he might not never get back. I told him how education sometimes poisons women and they can get a false sense of independence. Then the question of the children comes up, and he tells me that. Okay, did I end it? Yep, I ended it prematurely. Sorry.
Yeah, because I'm like, you just think
I'm
the
like,
the
huh?
question of the children. I'm like, wait, the children, but I don't get to hear about the children. I want to know about the children. What happened with the children? I was just getting into this. I got my popcorn, had my tea. What's going on here, Sean?
Yeah, that was an accident. Sorry.
It's all right. It happens. It happens. We'll give you one.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. Click. Oops. Made a mistake. That's all. Hey, Patrick, how you doing? Thanks for coming to the show.
Hey,
Appreciate
Patrick.
you.
Welcome.
Yeah, it's my coworker there.
Ooh, welcome, Patrick. I hope you have a good time. You see what conversations with Shar over here are all about. All this good advice we're gonna get tonight. Mm.
Whoop, whoop. Education sometimes poisons women and they can get a false sense of independence. Then the question of the children comes up, and he tells me that they need their mother. It is true, children need both parents, but they don't need both parents in the home. I said that your son and daughter will be sabotaged by the dynamic that you are allowing to take place. Right now, they still see you as the sole authority of the home. But as they get older, you will become weaker and weaker in their eyes, and she will become the dominant one. His daughter relationships may be forever damaged by this, as she will likely take on the attitude in the relationships, and his son may be turning into a simp because his dad is setting that example. They may even reject people who look like them because they do not like what they see in the home. I feel for my friend because I was in that position in my first marriage, except I didn't have children with the woman. As my first wife became more educated, the less respect I received from her. Finally, I started having sex with other women, and I did not hide it at all. Furthermore, I had sex in the house that I bought for my wife. Yep, she found the hair and items of other women all over the place. She really didn't see it coming. Then she had the nerve to try to make me jealous. I scoffed at her attempts. Risky, I know, but I had to let her know just where she was in the pecking order for me at that time. While they have children, he cannot take this option, but I told him that if he wants things to change, he needs to find some way to control the environment or just get rid of her and co-parent from separate households. Perhaps the responsibility of paying bills and the downgrade in lifestyle will sober her. He needs to make her dependent again because trying to appeal to her better angels is like banging your head against the sharp end of the railroad spike. What are your thoughts? All right. That
Wow.
was a lot.
Yes. Wow. That's
So that's why I said I'm going to go over it because I don't want you to mix up his friend from him because he had a lot to
right.
say. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Okay. So the guy that needs the advice is this is his second marriage. He has two children. He's been married for 6 years with this woman. She's a younger woman. Um, she pursued a degree while in this relationship. The two children they have are out of control, and only the dad can control them. Um, During this time, she stopped cooking and cleaning. She spends money without any discussion, which was the purchase of the car. And he's saying that he wants to stay in a relationship because of his children. Now, this I didn't quite get. Um, the guy says that his friend wife said that he wasted his time and he needs to get on her level. I'm not quite sure where that fits in. I don't know what conversation they had for her to say that. So, but I just threw that in there. Okay.
Okay.
Whew.
Hmm. Well, actually, I mean, that kind of fits into where my thought process was going a little bit, which was so there's certain kind of women, right, who, you know, so she got herself a, whatever education, which got her, I'm guessing, maybe a decent job that pays, decent wages. And my question is, are they doing a role reversal? Is she the one who's bringing home the bacon and he's at home taking care of the kids, which he thinks is very valuable and necessary, and she's basically looking down on him, saying he's wasting his time and stuff, like he's not being a real man. Go out there and go, become a investment banker or something. Go out there and make the big bucks and, be a man. That's what I was wondering, because that's almost what it sounds like. Like she said, well, why should I have to cook and clean and whatever? I'm the one who goes to work. I'm the one who brings home money. You ain't hitting on nothing, When that's almost the attitude I kind of felt from this one. And the fact that there's something about, I think the reason why I said it like that and I see it that way is because of how he approached it. So rather than being direct, and just like, oh yeah, my homie, we reconnected a few conversations in, so I'm just gonna direct tell him what's going on in my life, because I need some feedback, something that someone who is confident would do. He called and called and called and then called a little bit more frequently, and then it was twice a week, and then had to be confronted for him to speak his mind, which to me sounds like someone who's feeling insecure or beaten down, someone who, doesn't have, I guess, basically the cojones to even just bring up, yo, I need to talk about something, I need a listening ear. Can you care for 5 minutes about it? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So that's what it kind of seemed like to me.
Um, like I said, there is a lot going on there. A
Mm-hmm.
lot. Definitely there's no respect.
Mm-hmm.
She has no respect for him.
No.
When that began, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but my question would be to him, when did he notice that she stopped respecting him? How long has this been going on?
That's a good
Um,
question.
yeah. Um, Married 6 years, two children. I don't know the ages of the children. If it's an arm baby, toddler, I don't
Right.
know. Um,
Mm-hmm. To say how long ago she graduated from the school?
he did not say.
Mm. Because I have a feeling that there's a connection there. So, she found a man basically to support her. So, okay, right, and yeah, and I'm playing a little bit into a couple things, personal experience and the experience I had counseling women. Now it's because it's very much what it sounds like to me, the kind of woman. So when you're in one particular place in life, and men and women both do this, right? So you're in a lower place in life. You get a man or a woman, right, who fits that lower place in life. And they suit your purposes great in that moment. So, a man who's going to be willing maybe to pay off her debts, pay for her schooling, feed her, clothe her, bathe her, take care of her kids, do all the nine, do everything she needs so she can just focus on her and getting herself her degree, right? That kind of man is perfect for her. But now she's passed through that part of life. And so she doesn't need a doting wife. She needs a husband. And, just like when we say a woman who raises a man, right? Well, you raise a boy into a man, you're his mother. Now that he's a man, he's not looking for a mother, he's looking for a wife. So it's not going to be you. And I think it's a similar thing. Now, on one side she sees the benefit of a man who will sit there and dote on you and cater to you and blah blah blah. On the other side, she doesn't, as you said, she has no respect for this man, and she no longer needs a man that she has that kind of control. She doesn't need a doormat anymore. She's already achieved where she needs to achieve as far as her education. She's probably reached where she needs to go in her career, and now she's looking for a man who's her equal or better on a different kind of level, not on an emotional level, not on a I care about you level, but when she looks at as far as probably economically, a man who earns, a man who's more powerful than she is in the business world. And yeah, she's just going to keep walking all over him and stepping all over him because she can, and he's going to keep not going anywhere because he's the weak emotional one. It's almost like if you were to just take the genders, you take away man and woman from this, what does it sound like? This sounds like something you hear time and time again from wives, right? This is what happens to women, right? The man does this. I mean, what's her name? Kelly Broderick. Is it Kelly Broderick? The part 2 of the that show, right? But yeah, and Betty Broderick. Betty Broderick. It's the same type of story, right? I'm going to build you up. I'm going to make you everything. I'm going to love you through it all. I'm going to have your kids. I'm going to tend to your house. I'm going to encourage you when you're down. And I think that we're really the greatest team ever. And we love each other so much. And we built this from nothing together, right, babe? But then when he gets to the top, he doesn't want you. He wants a shiny new pretty plaything. Wants a real woman, not some old used up thing. He wants the pretty arm candy. So you're useless now. Now he's going to beat up on you. He's going to treat you badly. He's going to tell you he can treat you badly because where the hell are you going? He pays for your life. And you're going to sit there and take it for the sake of the kids and the sake of family, because that's what you've been working for. Your whole entire life with this person was for you guys to get to this place. And you thought you were going to, we were just talking about this behind the scenes where it's like, did he steal her time? Is that a theft of time? I don't know if it's a theft of time or not, but you invest your time into someone early on into building this family and this dream. And not everyone's willing to follow through.
Okay. DeAndre, welcome to the panel. You came in next. I'll let you go ahead.
Hey, DeAndre.
Hey, Ruby, Vonda, music. How's everybody doing? Shar?
What? Vonda and music? Oh, full house, y'all.
Hey, guys.
House party. What's up?
What's going on? Hey, Shar, thanks for having me.
Anytime.
Good evening, everybody. I had to get in on this one. Couldn't let this one go.
Fair for you.
Right? What a mess. All right.
This is I'm like, this is nothing like, I guess, being in the military, being in places. I see this all the time. This is just people. This is just people, man, women, cat, dog, whatever. What it basically is this man, like, he got a younger wife, right? We kind of hear these guys in those spaces over there talking about, you get a woman, get a younger woman and all this other stuff. But the woman's younger and he got a woman. He got what he wanted, but not what he needed. He got a woman that was above his pay grade. And what I mean by above his pay grade is he invested into a woman. It's just like you get a trophy wife and, you're making all this money, so-called high value man, and then you come in the house and you catch her cheating with the pool boy, right? The difference is she wasn't cheating. She was basically, no matter what he did for her, he wasn't on her level because she's in this space right now where she's achieving something. And success is like it's like this drug for people, right? Because with success comes admiration and validation, right? And when you get validated by people that are outside the people that are quote unquote, they're supposed to love you, right? Like your family members are supposed to love you, right? Like they're supposed to do that. Like, okay, you married me, yeah, because I'm pretty and I'm cute. That's why you're supposed to love me, right? And that was always the thing. I gave you kids, okay, but now she's getting validation from perfect strangers, right?
Mm.
She's getting the validation. This happens on men too. Like you're getting that validation. Like, your mom and your sister are supposed to love you. You know what I'm saying? Your friends are supposed to love you, but when you get that validation from a perfect stranger, it's a totally different thing. Like it's something that is totally different. And this is something that a lot of men, when they say I'm staying here for the kids, yeah, but you're really staying there for the woman. Like if the woman says I'm staying with the man because of the kids, with a woman is a different thing because women nest. Men, we oppose the environment. So he's there for the kids, but he really truly loves that woman. And the way she's acting, she would rather probably, just, go on about whatever she's going to do and leave them kids with him because she don't want nothing to do with them kids,
Yeah.
and she probably I'm like, it's probably a thing. If she's going to buy a car or whatever and he's providing for the kids or whatever, he's doing everything and she's not doing so forth or whatever, then they make, you come to an amicable thing, was like, look, we're going in different directions, your career is rising and stuff like that, continue to do what you're going to do, and that's the end of it. But our accounts are separate. Whatever you spend your money on, you spend it on that. You have your separate account. I don't expect you to pay for nothing in this house because I had this house before you. I'm taking care of the children. You don't even need to give me anything for the kids. Just go do whatever you're going to go do. But you're going to do that over there in your own place.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'll
Um,
I'll put some money together and get you out of here.
okay.
I
Vonda.
I would definitely agree with Dre. I mean, I agree a little bit with what Ruby says as well with regards to, it sounds like maybe he's not bringing nothing home as far as support or providing for the family. And now she's doing it. And to me, just listening to the whole thing, I'm just like, she does not respect this man. And, really, once a woman has lost your respect, you can hang it up. You
Yeah.
can hang it up because there's no amount of simping, as it's called. And I'm not calling the man a simp, but that's just what it looks like. There's no amount of simp that's going to make her respect you. Once she does not respect you, she loses the respect for you. That's it. It's a wrap. Hang it up. Now, she's younger than him. She's, giving him a couple of babies. And I think at the end of the day, he bit off more than he could chew. And it doesn't sound like this was a relationship that started with love. I don't know. I'm not sure how it started. I don't know. Or if it was, it's gone because she does not respect this man. And, you don't stay for the kids, for humiliation, because she's going to continue to humiliate you. And yeah, this is not a good situation. This is not a good situation. So I agree with Dre, you're going to do it the mature way. It's time for us to go our separate ways, do what you do, but it's time for them to separate. Kids or not. They'll just have to figure it out.
Yeah. Um, DJ Music, welcome to the panel. You'd like to weigh in?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How is everybody doing? Well,
Hey,
All
I'll just
right.
say it.
Good, good.
I'll just go ahead and
Doing
say
great.
I'll just go ahead and say it. The elephant in the room. There, we've all heard this before. This is a classic case of a guy who, for some reason or the other, as the old saying goes, is beauty's only skin deep. He saw a nice, beautiful woman, as they say, over on them side of the streets over there. He went and found him one of those women that didn't hit the wall, so to speak. She was
Mhm.
pretty. It's obvious that the man had some kind of substance and means because he put her through college. He put her into where she needed to be to get better.
Okay.
Mhm.
So having said that, I don't think it was an idea of when she says being on her level. I don't think she meant it financially. I think she meant it as in, you know, you thought you was playing me, but the whole time I was playing you to get better.
Now, music, I'll explain why I said that.
Mhm.
Because we don't know when the bad behavior / disrespect started. But I will say this, right? People who
Mhm.
are in absolute miserable relationships do not invest tens of thousands of dollars into someone's continued success over years, right? Because things are miserable. So at some point they must have been happy, right? They must have been happy in order for them to, start this marriage thing, the kids thing, the school thing. What I think happened was exactly what you said in a way. I do think she was playing him, but she was also playing nice while she played him because
Mhm.
he did have the financial means. But see, once she surpassed him financially, um, she wouldn't need him. She would also look down on him as though you're wasting time, bro. Why aren't you leveling up? I leveled up. Why aren't you? And I also think that when you're focused on your career, because I know a few people have done this and they've gone back to school when they already had kids and then had kids while they were in school, or went back to a career. And the guy took a step back from working to support her in her dreams, right? So, I'm relatively financially well off, could work from my savings, do little part-time stuff, because family's the most important. Because it sounds to me, I know I did see some people in the chat say there's no respect either way. I think he loved and respected her. I think he was fleeced entirely. He was taken for a fool. That's why he's so beaten down. That's why he's so, like, he doesn't even have the kind of courage to stand up and be like, yo, let me tell you what messed up thing my wife did, because he's feeling like a fool. Because I think he was fully invested in every way. And he can now look back and see how he was manipulated into every step. This young, beautiful chick saw an opportunity. She saw the guy who, oh my God, she's young and beautiful and damn near virginal and innocent, and I can shape her and mold her. And she said, yes, bank account. And, did all of that, exactly what you said. She doesn't really care about those kids. She doesn't really care about that life that they built. That was all a means to an end for her. But now that she's gotten it, she probably is doing better than he is now, because he stepped back from his career to take care of the kids, take care of house and home so she could follow her dreams. Which, even if she didn't start off with bad intentions, I just got to say, most relationships can't stand that, because it's very difficult for women to maintain respect and that healthy relationship level where, a woman looks at a man and sees him like a man when he's, playing Dr. Mom at home every day. And that's his job, right? It's harder.
can I say that is like the coldest ass shit to do?
Mhm.
I
It
mean,
is.
that is terrible. But
Yep.
what I would want to know is, were there red flags when this older man was getting with this young chick?
Of
Of
course
Cool.
there
course.
was. Of
Of
Yes.
course there
course.
was. He ignored him.
Mhm.
He completely
Yep.
Yeah.
ignored
So
him.
there you go.
Right.
There
It
you
was
have it.
he was more worried about having a pretty young girl on his arm than he was, what's done behind closed doors.
Mm.
Nobody knows, but out in public, all they see is, I'm an older guy. I might be in my 40s and 50s, and I got this young, pretty thing. Because as I was listening to it, not only did he have to worry about outside interference, he had to worry about his friend too, because his friend was sizing his chick up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was, and the guy that was that was writing the letter that was giving him advice, he should be banned for giving anybody advice.
Yeah.
Hello.
Because
Hello.
he like, yeah, she, my wife came in the house and then I was like, she tried to make me jealous and then I was smashing the chicks in the house and stuff. I was like,
Right.
first of all, now you stupid because now she can take half of whatever you got and use the kids as a battering ram, and then you up here and then you'll be on YouTube complaining about, you know, the foolishness, right? And then you'll
Mhm.
be doing circles for the next 10 years on YouTube. But it's his problem is like when you get to a certain age, like if you this is my understanding. If you as an individual at the age before the age about 33 or 34, right? If you go out and you get someone and if you get past a certain age, everything starts to become a rewind, right? It becomes reruns, right? You've seen the old sugar daddy, right? You've seen him with the little young thing. You've seen him giving her money. You didn't seen the little sugar babies, right? Why is this young woman that's this pretty hitting her prom? Why is she messing with you? Right?
Mhm.
Why is she dealing with you? We always ask this question because I'm the why guy. Why me? Why me? Why? And a lot of times people want to feel so appreciated that they don't understand that no one comes up and unless they're kidnapping you, no one comes up. They're going to show their true colors within 90 days. For you to go from dating to marriage to having two kids to her going through school and she got her career straight and she talking to you sideways. Now this woman's got to be 30 something and you got to be sitting on 50. You about 15 years away from social security. If she's telling you that you wasted your life, that means you have plateaued or you are plummeting in your financial responsibilities and she is picking up the load or she thinks she can pick up the load,
Mhm.
right?
Can I just say one thing? Because here, the thing that we like to forget sometimes, because younger, beautiful, right? From a younger, beautiful woman, right? Head can cover a whole multitude of sins. And it's amazing how many of these sins can accumulate over the years. And a girl who gives good head, trust me,
Mhm.
he will forget until it hits the wall, and he'll be like, God damn, she did a lot of
Mhm.
messed up stuff, but then she went, baby, I'm so sorry, dropped down on
Mhm.
them knees, looked him in his eyes the whole time too, right? And all of a sudden, boom, not even just forgiven, forgotten. Okay,
Mhm.
forgotten. Okay, now I am just saying, right? Because
Come
I
on
just know this from a
now.
friend. It's not something I know personally. I know this from a friend that it's a trick that would always work, right? From a pretty young thing. So this is the thing we have to realize. Like, he wasn't necessarily just stupid. She was young, so there's some part of youth where you're like, you brush some when you're a little bit older and she's a little bit younger, and then she makes certain mistakes you made. You go, she's going to grow out of it. She's going to grow up. She's going to grow into maturity and adulthood. So you brush some of that off, and the rest of it is the amazing head from a very beautiful face. That's all I'm saying. Like,
Uh, okay.
yeah.
I,
That's one
Listen.
way of
That's
looking
that.
at it, Ruby.
Listen. There's some things you can't argue with a woman about. That's what a woman said. That's what a woman said. I don't know personally.
yeah.
Yeah, because you don't
Yeah,
remember, because
that's
you
Right.
forgot it.
Right. What was we
and,
arguing about? What
and
was
you know
Exactly.
that?
what? You know what, Ruby? Who's to say that was not one of the tools in her arsenal that
Uh,
she used to carry this whole thing out?
Of
Have
course
a
it
bunch of
was.
kids, snatch the body bag, continue to get the education. By the time he's this age, I'm gonna be this age. I'll still be able to do whoop de woo.
Hmm.
I'll still be looking like whoop. Okay, yeah. So
right.
that's some cold. I think that's some cold ass mess right there. But hey, you got to think people think like that,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
and
They definitely do.
and he wanted
And
it, and he pushed hard for her. You understand
Mhm.
me? He
Mm-hmm.
pushed hard for her. So she
Exactly.
well, hey, there you have it.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
feel like throwing up on myself when we have sex. So yeah, there we can do it. We can do this.
Mhm.
I hope it wasn't as callous as that. But the way she sounds now, she does
It
not respect
was. It
But
man.
you know
was.
what though? I'll say this, cause like, and this was not like a user thing, whatever. I was madly in love with this boyfriend, but with that being said, he paid off all of my debt. I mean, all of my debt, plus was paying for me to go to school while we were together, right? And this was not like a big. It's just he figured that now that he was out of school, he had a job where he was making good money. He was
All the
still living at
bees.
home with his mom, and
Mm-hmm.
he figured he didn't want me to be in debt because my life was going to be attached to his. The plan was we were going to get married. Then I found out that he was sleeping with everything that moved every time I blinked.
Well,
And so we broke up.
there was a plus side to it. I mean, you have to look it and just weigh it. Be like, okay, well,
No,
great.
I don't like liars. It wasn't really the cheating part, it was the lying part. But the point is that, I was a pretty young thing. You know what I mean? And while I might not have been a cheater and a user, I had a lot of issues. I was an alcoholic. That brings a lot of issues into your life. And
Yeah.
somehow, you know what I mean? You could forget a whole lot of things and still be fully devoted. Right, when you have that pretty young thing look at you in a certain way, and fulfill a certain thing and whatever. And so, and the thing is that no, because you
No,
know
I was
what?
reading what Don Teasy said. He said, "All your debt, Ruby. What was you doing?"
That's what I was. Listen, that's what I was just saying in the
My
background. He
boyfriend
paid
done
off he paid off the student loan too. Goddamn,
it was
that's
No,
my
fire.
boyfriend
yeah, I
that
know. I
Sold
wish
the
I
boat.
wish I gotten further through school before we broke up, man. I'd
That's
be debt
right.
free.
That's it. That's
Hey,
some fire. I don't want none of that.
hey,
No,
you know
thank
what?
you.
You know what, Ruby? Listen, Ruby. See, you messed up, right? See, Ruby too nice, honest, right? I'm gonna just be
Mhm.
honest with you, Ruby. You messed up. You should have got your doctor's degree before you
Yeah,
bailed out,
man.
man.
I
You.
That's it.
know.
Could have paid
I
for everything. Right. But
Grace
listen,
is
listen.
lying. The lying
But
was too much.
right.
The lying
I
was too
mean, but
much.
how long does the for just based on, it seems like in the age thing, how long past the children, or how long was the sex things going on? It seemed like to me at some point in time it got over the sex, and then it got to the matter of respect. But
Oh, you
shit,
know they
how
Well,
ain't doing it no
right? How
more.
the
you
reason why
let her
he
mouth off
noticed
like that?
No, the reason why he noticed the respect thing is because she stopped giving the good head, because she stopped caring,
That's
and
what
she
Yep.
I'm
stopped
saying.
needing him
Yeah.
anymore, right?
Right.
Yeah.
All he got was lip service, and not that kind.
Not the right
Yeah.
kind, yeah.
Right.
Whoa.
Yeah. I'm like, if you really think about it, it's like she. You gotta like. This is me. This is me. Um, you that's why when as me going through my progression as being an adult and things of that nature as a man from a man's perspective,
Mhm.
when I got to about 25, and I guess it was the military, because you kind of grow up fast in the military than
Fast.
fast, right? Before you think about it. But as a 25-year-old, I would hang around older dudes and start going to lounges and stuff. But in my age bracket of the average 25-year-old, you just hit that cusp, right? That's why they got the 25 and over clubs, right? The grown and sexy, but they would let the younger women in, right? The women had to be like 21 and over,
Women always have leeway in clubs, especially
right?
young women.
Especially
Right.
young women.
Mhm.
But women, they mature faster mentally and physically than men. So a 22-year-old, 23-year-old woman is pretty much on the same mental faculties as a 25 to 26, 27-year-old man, right? Because they're hitting that cusp where they want to settle down. So now they're not in the club, they're in the lounge, where it's more of a talking, let me meet you game than a grinding, shake it game, right? So, but then when I started to get into my, because I couldn't, when I was younger, I was like, man, why y'all in these bars and stuff like this, right? But then I started understanding the landing of the bar. But I noticed that the women would get older when you would go to a more intimate setting. A more intimate setting. So for you to get this young woman that's younger than you, where you put her through college, She was spitting out these kids. She got 2 kids. You already had a house before her. So you was already in a marriage before her, according to the letter. You got divorced. You got the house. So whatever amicable relationship that you had between the woman before her, and if you was in a relationship prior, you might have kids with that woman or may not have. But you have a house. So if she came into a situation with just being cute at her bags, then what I'm trying to say is if she's 25 years of age, you already been married, you already into a mortgage or paying on a house, and then you can afford with a mortgage to pay for children and put a woman through college. What I want to know is what's wrong with her where she couldn't get a dude that's around her age bracket and she had to fall on you? That means she had to been crazy.
Right. But he didn't ask
Mm-hmm.
himself that, Dre. That's what. So, see, that's exactly what the point was. Is he was just after a trophy, no matter where she came from, or how she came. He didn't care about her educational background. He didn't care about where she came from. All he was worried about at that time was her looks.
And
No,
That was
no,
it.
because it's the opposite way though. No. The women who, if you have a woman as a guy, right, and you're in your early 20s, right, the very best women are not available who are in the same age category because they're going to be with men who are further along in life. Why? Because they're the top of the top, right? They're the most desirable. So, I don't think that that's necessarily a fair question that he should have asked himself. Because in theory, she just got out of a relationship like 10 seconds ago. Relationships are not always permanent at 21, 22, however old they were, but like she's supposed to get snapped up by the older guy who can take care of her and afford her a good life because she's got better genetics. Right? That's the way the world works. So,
Well, see, that's the thing that I was saying is older guy, if she's 25, you're talking about if she's 25, you're looking at a guy that's between, let's just say 27, maybe to 32, 33, right? If you're talking about a man, if we look at this dichotomy in this day and age, especially if we're talking about black men, right? You got out of a divorce and you still got a house. So you gotta be late 30s, almost like a little bit over 40.
Yeah, he's over 40. I think he's over 40.
Yeah, I
He's over
think he
40,
probably is more than
right?
likely.
He's over 40. So you're telling me she graduated from college, you put her through college. So that means was she in college when she was there? Because if she's talking about her career, you need to get on her level. That means she's gotta be eclipsing, she might be almost going to 30, maybe a little bit over 30. So that means that this man, when he met her, she was probably 10 to 15 years his junior.
Probably
Right?
15. You're right. I would
Right?
definitely agree with that.
Right. And if she's saying all of this and she's buying a car and she's making these decisions, because right now we're only hearing one side of the story. We're just hearing venting. We're not, we don't know her side or why she's making this decision. If she's smart enough to grab up this older man, have her move him through college, have these kids, and now when she get on her grind, now she's showing her true colors. You know what I'm saying? That means she's smart enough to make a decision that won't impact the kids. Right? That means is that she's making a decision to a certain degree. Women are very calculative. They're not going to disturb the nest too much. They're going to keep everything as it is. Then if they can grasp power, and it's not a grasp of power, it's a challenge. It's a challenge, and it's not to challenge you. If it's a functional relationship, it's not to challenge you as in I want to take over. It's to challenge you to see if you're still the same dude that I married that's still going to do what you need to do, because I feel that you're getting a little bit too soft and there's no drive and determination. And the one thing a woman can't stand is a man that doesn't continue to challenge the environment, that gets complacent, that just sits there and does the same thing over and over again, especially if she's in the corporate world where she's got to go against Brad and Brenda and Kathy and Karen, and she's being so competitive, and you're just sitting up there hemming and hawing and doing whatever. And the problem is it's not that he's not on her level because he's the one with the house. He's the one taking care of everything. It's on her level when it comes to being just having
where they are in life.
Yeah,
That's why I think the age difference is at least 15 years.
Yeah,
At least 15 years.
that's just what I'm looking at, because it sounds like that he's getting ready for retirement, right? Like he's slowing it down, like he's almost eclipsing 50, and he's just trying to I'm just trying to make it to the end, I'm trying to like Shar say, defer and get this pension and roll the hell out, right? But she's just hitting her stride in her career, and that's the problem. And this is the major issue about marrying, for men marrying women or having a relationship with a woman that's that young, um, with the age dynamic. Because when you can't do what you used to do when you get to a certain age, especially as a man. Like you're not, hey babe, let's go out here. Look, my wife like to go all types of places. I ain't look, my nerves is back. No, I don't want to go there. Where we going? We need to get there. We need to get out. It's like a robbery. We go shopping. She don't even want to take me shopping with her because she already know what's that. How much is it? Why so cheap? Why it cost so much? Why you need all that? Well, we just gotta. Hey, we just paid such and such. It's my money. Then, you know what? You're right. You do have a job. It is your money. So why am I here? You're right. Why are you here? You need to go shopping with your girlfriend. I'm gonna be at the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, call me when it's something containing to the house. Whatever you want to wear, you buy, this is your money. You go and buy that yourself with your girlfriends. I don't need to come shopping with you. Now, when we was younger and stuff like that, this was quality time, right? This was,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
Okay, we've been together 17 years. You know what I like and what I don't like, and whatever you gonna wear, you just don't walk out the house making me look bad, but you gonna hear my mouth. But that's is certain things when you get older, but she can understand that and accept that because we grew together. If I was with a younger woman, 10 or 15 years my junior, she ain't going to hear that because guess what's going to happen? Tyrone and and all of them, or whoever she is in her age bracket a little bit older than that, they're going to take that time and just be out because they want to show her off. I'm walking in there, yeah, I just went in my pocket and threw a stack on the table. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? For my girl, because the other women that's working in there seeing that, and he want the validation of what's going on. When you get older as a man, you worried about the validation of getting home, and your validation is a home cooked meal, the house being clean, the
Yeah.
kids are just doing their thing, and it's peace. It's peaceful, right? That's what you want.
Right.
And she's young, and what she wants is she wants excitement because now she's financially able in her life to get her own. And that's where it's at. I'm like, now the good thing is nobody cheated on each other, and that's why I said his friend that wrote the letter, he should be disqualified for giving
Oh
any.
my God. I mean, he just had to throw his little bit in there. I didn't know what you were supposed to put to that portion of the story, Shar.
Right. That's why
A whole extra lot of mayonnaise on that one. Like,
yeah.
But you know
But
what though?
I decided to read the letter as it was and then just say, hey, people, when the live stream comes, just focus on these points. Yeah.
Appreciate it. No, you know what? I, I will say this. I do think though that there is cheating going on, specifically on her side. And
His
the
too.
reason why I think that, well, I don't know about him, but I will say I do think that she's cheating. And the reason why I think that she's cheating is because even if you secretly feel a lot of kind of like you're looking down on this dude, like, why can't he be more like this? Why can't he be more like that? It's normally when you find those traits and qualities in another man that you have attached yourself to in some way that you feel more bold and embrazened to be rubbing it in his face. Like, why are you hitting on shit? Why aren't you on my level? Why can't you da 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 da? Why ain't you motivated like me? Well, why don't you want to push yourself? Why don't you want to be a baller like I want to be a baller? Why don't you want to clean yourself up the way I want to clean myself up? Right? Normally, that comes from her getting it from somewhere, and it's normally because she found that in another guy, and that other guy's giving her the attention. Now, it might just be emotional affair at this point. I don't know. but I do think that she found somebody who's giving it to her, and giving her the attention, giving her the "you deserve better than that, dude," at the very least, who is more everything that she's looking for. That's what
I
I think.
would absolutely completely agree with that, Ruby. Most
Mm-hmm.
definitely. There was no mention of it, so but it was in the back of my mind. I'm like, well, with the amount of respect, which is zero,
Mm-hmm.
that she has for him, there's no way that she's not digging another dude.
Yeah.
That
Mm.
she's not hearing you are the greatest thing since, sliced raisin bread. You're
Mm-hmm.
everything. She's fucking that up from somebody.
Right.
No pun intended. But it's like, okay, yeah, I thought about the same thing, Ruby. That's all I'm saying is I felt the same exact way because the amount of disrespect that she shows to this man, when it's not even necessary. She just
Right.
she's almost like ill,
Wait.
Mm.
Exactly.
Music, was you trying to
Exactly.
get in here?
Mm.
I was thinking, maybe I didn't hear it correctly, but I was thinking at some point in time, his friend also mentioned that he eventually got tired of the situation going on at the house, and so he started an affair of his own, and then she knew about it, and then she kind of did it. If I heard the word correctly, again to kind of throw it in his face. So I look at it like this. At some point in time, there was a level of disrespect on both parts till it came to the point of either the respect factor, the trust factor, the emotional factor, all of that was null and void in that relationship on both parts. Number one,
Oh,
yes. Go
that
ahead.
was the author of the letter.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
He was saying that about his situation, not
mm-hmm.
the one that he
Threw
was
a
asking what did I
whole
think.
different panel on it. He's like,
Right.
oh, this is my homeboy, his situation. But by the way, I
Right,
was like,
right. And that's
Man,
why I
like
was saying that is so, it was so much. I'm like, well, let me go ahead and point this out. That was not his. That's not the
Okay.
people the guy we're focusing on.
Oh,
Right.
He
okay.
just
No,
said
Mm-hmm.
okay.
right. I'm sorry,
Right.
it was
I
Mm-hmm.
was
confusing.
I was like, wait a minute now. When did he get time to stay home with the kids? If he's
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this
Right.
guy, second marriage, two children, younger wife, 6 years. Wife has a degree. Children are controlled. Only the dad can control them. She stopped cooking. She stopped cleaning. No discussion on how the money is spent in the house. She purchased a car, and he's staying there for in this relationship for the children. That's
you
pretty
know,
much his situation.
I can just narrow that down to one sentence. What I need you for?
Uh oh. All right.
Hey, you know what? I would like to play devil's advocate. I'm going to put on my defense attorney. Uh, uh, I'm gonna bring out my briefcase.
okay.
And what I really think is, and this is just me, I think it hasn't happened yet, and he knows it's going to happen. But I think the actual conversation that they done had, right? Because what I really think is this is that this his wife, right? They've
Mm-hmm.
had these conversations, right? Because he's going to be straight up and blunt, right? Because if he was in the military, he's going to be blunt. He's going to sit her down because we do this thing. We do this, what we call it. Um, we go through steps, and we see a problem and we need to fix it. And it's not like we don't see it, like we see it, we got this crystal ball, right? And we see it because if you're in the military, you have to see long range because something gonna creep up and get you. So he's probably saw what was happening. He probably sat her down. They probably had conversations. She probably didn't say too much, and then she probably got to the point where she said whatever she said. Now she can't cook and clean if she's doing a full shift at work,
Right.
right? So she can't come home and cook and clean, right? And then take care of the kids and do a full thing at work. right? And then come home and whatever. Okay, yes, the kids listen to you because
You with
you're
them all
dad.
the time.
You with them all the time. I'm not here. I'm college. I'm this. I'm that. I'm this. I'm that. I'm that. This is what's going to happen. Now the kids are probably they're in school. They're past that age of being babies and what so have you and whatever. Okay, they're not listening to her like that because when she comes home from work, she's bringing work with her.
Work home, yeah. She ain't
Work
got
home,
platform.
right? So she's in a corporate. If she's got a job like that where she can go out and just buy a car and just think whatever, and the family's assets are not going over with you or whatever, whatever the dichotomy is, or however a relationship works, she's getting this information from her work cohorts or her girlfriends or the new crowd of people that she's hanging with, right? And they're having these conversations. So she's probably what she's probably trying to do, because a lot of women do this. Okay, how do you motivate a man? Well, the coochie clinic is closed. There's no more withdrawals from the bank.
Oh
Bam.
wow.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the first way a woman will let you know as a man without nonverbal that if no, but no, I gotta go to work in the morning. No, then if a woman is really feeling you as a man, she will give you some right before she go to work and damn near be late. She be fixing her hair on the way out the goddamn door. You know what I'm saying? She come home, she do something. It's gonna happen regardless. But if a woman's
Hurry
not
up. Come on.
yeah, come on, let's go. All right, I got 15 minutes. Let's do it, right? They don't care. It's a quickie. It happens, right? Right? It's gonna happen, right? She's not going to go out the door and leave you so many times like that and thinking some other woman gonna creep in. She gonna give you something
That's
until she
serene.
give it to you fully.
Right.
If she is cutting it off, that means she needs to reestablish and motivate you as a man to do what you need to do so you can get this WAP again. Because it's not WAP right now. It's dry. It ain't failing you. I'm stressed. This is what's happening,
So
right?
Dre,
Well, you know what?
you think that was her strategy? She did that on purpose to motivate him?
She's
No.
this is what I'm saying. I'm just throwing up in the defense, being devil's advocate right now. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Well, you know what though?
With the Ruby
I,
hat.
I got something to say about it. As a
Good.
human being, no, you know what? Interestingly enough, so just this week, I was researching, right? Just did a Google search, and I'm like, the difference between being manipulative and influential. I was literally looking that up this week, and the reason why is because I know I have a propensity, like my natural almost demeanor, without trying, I can be very manipulative. I know I can. And so, in order to not be manipulative, because I'm not trying to be manipulative, I'm not trying to manipulate people. I do it though. Like it comes naturally to me, like breathing. So, in order to defend against that, my whole life, I've gone so far in the opposite direction that I want to have zero impact on you, because then at least I know I'm not manipulating you. Right. But at the same time, I'm sitting there starting to think about the fact that that's probably not the best way of me going about my life the whole rest of my life. I would like to be able to be influential without being manipulative. Right. So given that, and knowing my natural propensity for manipulation, I know what women do and don't do when they are trying to manipulate a man. And if you're in a solid relationship with this man, right? You can cute manipulate a guy with sex. Like, I'm going to pull it back. I'm going to give it to you. But you have to be very openly clear about no ring, no ting, or, oh, you're not going to buy me that, no ting. You threaten him, right? And you let him know that it's an open manipulation, but it's cute, right? If you want to actually manipulate a man into doing what it is that you want him to do, that if you asked him directly or you told him directly, he's not going to just agree to do it. You can't do something so basic as not spread your legs. It's not enough. For most men, honestly, especially if they know they can see the connection at all, they're not going to really jump for it, but it only will work so much about so many things. And she was very manipulative, it seems like, on every level. He's paying for her school. It seems like he's withdrawn from his job. He went to being, the stay-at-home dad. Like, it seemed like she manipulated that man into being everything she needed him to be, both a bank account and a stay-at-home nanny and a support system and everything she needed. So she did way more and way more complex. I would say, if anything, the one thing that she never really messed with was the sex. And the reason why is because she needed the sex to manipulate him into forgetting about the disrespect, into forgetting about all the times that he started looking at her sideways, about that type of stuff. She needed the sex for that. So if she's going to be using it for that, right? We talked about the good head. Then that means she was using other means to manipulate him,
Oh
and she
yeah,
was 100%.
Yeah.
I would say it was probably more. I think she would punish him. I think she used a reward, and like, so for example, the spending, right? I think it's important for us to know what the friend mentioned. So he mentioned the spending, right? And I think she
Mhm.
would punish him with spending. So while she was in school and stuff like that, right? And the bills were all on him. That's how she punished him. She punished him by screwing him on his credit card bill. She would punish him by not paying a bill she was supposed to pay. So now he got hit with late fees or in trouble for something, or his cell phone got cut off. You know what I mean? I think she would do stuff like that. And it was very much like, oh, like, how could you do this, blah, blah, blah. Oh, but she's young and she's irresponsible and she's just so emotional because she loves me so much, and the head was so good and it's okay, right? But you know what he remembered is not to piss her off the next time. And I think that's how she did it, more with a reward punishment system, but more punishment than anything.
Now, and this was a thing that I was, because and the reason why I said that is because we listening from one side of it, right? And that's why I kind of dived in a little deeper. If she's as manipulative as we say it is, as you said is, and this has been going on for quite a while, right?
Hmm.
Then wouldn't she, like, and this is just my thought process, right? Wouldn't she take the house, take the kids, get rid of them? Right? Like, because that would be easy, right? Because he doesn't need
No,
to be
That
there.
would be the cruel
no,
thing to do. That would be
You
no,
the
it
cruel
wouldn't.
thing to do. Now,
It
because
wouldn't be the easy thing to do. That actually is the
and
hardest thing to do, because then you have to take care of the kids. See, right
that's
now,
exactly what I was gonna say, Ruby.
yeah,
Because she's not the main caregiver, so the kids don't really listen to her, and they could
Right.
just be, very well in her hair.
Yeah.
So
right.
he's the disciplinarian, so he takes care of the kids primarily, apparently. So
Hmm.
she doesn't want to mess up that balance.
Well,
Oh.
and this is where I bring it to this, right? Um,
Okay.
there's the dude. He used to play for the Chicago Bears, right?
Mm,
And he had his wife. They had a show together, right?
Mhm.
And he's a very nonchalant guy, right? And he's a football player. He retired. Dude's a millionaire, right? Got money, dumb money. She wanted to start a business. She started he with his money. He gave her the money to start a business. She was watching the kids while he was playing football. He didn't want to play football no more. He's got a farm, right?
Mhm.
Big acre farm, does his thing. She talked him into going back into football, right? Because she felt that he was being lazy. Because he was with his kids, taking care of his kids. Um, Kids love him, got the farm, all this other stuff, right? But she wanted him to be motivated because she married a football player, right? And he's no longer a football player. So they got a reality television show, right?
Mhm.
So guess what happens? Her business is all doing okay, but not like that. She wants a divorce from him. She gets a divorce from this guy, right? Gets a divorce from the guy. In the divorce proceedings, she states that they're having an issue because she wanted to buy this big house that costs money, and they already got two homes, but because the one house doesn't already have internet in it. Now, the biggest issue with this is she didn't cheat, he didn't cheat. The problem was the motivation of him for her because she wanted this high profile run in life. And the guy's making money hand over fist, but he doesn't have to work hard at it. And he's just a homebody country guy. And she's just on some different type of thing, right? There are people in the world that do grow apart with their drive and motivation, right? And what it sounds to me is that she's at that point where she's going to physically do the inaction of the cheating, but she didn't do it yet, right? And she's giving him warnings. You need to be motivated in something, like something. Like you need to do something because I didn't sign up for this. Because when you were working and I was in school, we were motivated. Now, whatever she did when she got angry at him, I believe, yeah, she went and go spent this and go spent that and whatever and all this other stuff. But what I really think it is that his lack of her perceived motivation of what he's doing is a thing that has her with this blatant disrespect or whatever she's doing to drive him. And I think the other thing is that he has nothing else but her. Like in the kids, right? Like he doesn't have any friends because
Oh
if he's
yes, especially if he's anywhere from 55 to 60 years old. I mean, that's like, you
yeah,
know.
because he called his because if you listen to the letter, right, and if you listen to the letter, okay, he started contacting me more frequently, and that's more frequently than what men would talk to each other would do, right? Like we were in the army together, they were in the military together. I don't know what branch they were, but they were in the military together. But if he's contacting me so often and I finally had to tell him and he finally let it out, that means he doesn't have any male peers um that is around him that he could actually engage with.
Right.
You
That's
know what
true.
though? If I could add one more piece to that though, because I know someone who did something similar, not an army person, but still they did something similar. And the reason why I got to bear the brunt of that relationship from both perspectives, both my friends and his, is because he had friends and family, lots of people who supported him, but he didn't want to tell anybody what was happening, and because he didn't want anyone to look down on her or think less of her or
Mm.
say I told
Mhm.
you so or any of those types of things. So he told me because he knew I loved her. So even though, I might agree with him and be like, yeah, man, she's a piece of shit sometimes, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to stop loving her as a person, or I'm not going to say any of the oh, she's a horrible person, leave her and screw her, you never should have had a kid with her, or stuff like that. So it could be something like that too, where he does have people, but he's not ready to go public with any of this or to have her name sullied yet.
Yeah. Like he wants a resolution. He wants to fix the issue and the problem because he loves her, he loves the kids, and he loves the dynamic of, finally having a family. Like
Yes.
I didn't invest time, money, house, all this stuff because this is my second time doing it and I'm getting later in my years and I figure, okay, so just to let the cat out the bag, just tangent, why would an older man take a younger woman? And he's already been married and divorced. Well, the older man would take a younger woman because one, I can have kids.
Yeah.
Two, it's like a reset button. Three, I know that I'm going to get to a point where I'm going to get older. She's still young, so if she has the kids, I can be kind of like that voice of reason. I know I'm going to be more mature in my actions. I'm going to see things differently. I'm gonna still allow her to do herself and whatever and who and be herself and let her grow and do whatever. And then when it's time for me to go downhill, I can still leave her something. And then maybe if she decides to get remarried or whatever she wants to do, we can move forward in life and she can be straight and I can leave them something great because I'm being a responsible man and stuff like that. And I'm not running around. I'm not chasing no women. I'm not doing none of that. Right. But the other thing that goes with that is it's motivation and is just drive and motivation. Women are enamored by drive and motivation, and it doesn't have to be anything ridiculous. It can just
Right.
You got a hobby, you go to work, but I see you come home and you rebuild this car from scratch. Like this is where you do it. Like you got your friends, you got your little bit of friends, you have your man thing. I think what it is that it's all about her and the kids, and it's the clinginess. The clinginess, this, and this, and this, that, and the third. And what I wanted, and what I want to see, and I think what he really wants really is a resolution to all of this. Like he wants to keep his wife. He wants to keep his kids. He wants to keep his family together. Because at the end of the day, if he gets divorced a second time, well, it's you, bro. It's you because you keep picking the wrong woman. It's you. Like it's not a mutual thing. It's you. You should have known better. You shouldn't have got her. She's too young for you. I told you she was too beautiful, like you were saying, Ruby. The told souls and the second guessings and stuff like that.
They also people might not have liked her for other reasons too. Like, but I know, like in the case that I'm talking about, right? Like he always had said, because basically his father all but abandoned him with his mother, and he's biracial, so his mom's white and his dad's black, and his dad all but abandoned him with his mother, who was like a drug addict. It was a really hard upbringing for him. And then when he would go see his dad when he got a few years older and stuff, the stepmother hated him and was really abusive towards him. It was a really bad situation. So he had always sworn to himself that if he ever had any kids with any woman, he would stay with her forever, right? And you fight to make those relationships work. So that's who you're gonna marry. You spend the rest of your life with this person, and that's just what it is, right? Because he was not going to put his kids in the same position he had been in. And so, it didn't matter that, things were a disaster and getting worse and worse. And it really wasn't better for the kids they stay together, let alone for themselves. It was all about this idea he had in his head already about what he was going to do and what it would say about him if he left. Right. And so what he wanted, he really wanted confirmation from me almost that things were salvageable, that, she's a good woman and, whatever. And I gave him the confirmation. She's a great person. She's a great woman. He's a great man. They're not great together. But individually, they're great. Their personalities don't go well together. He doesn't really understand her. She doesn't understand him. So it doesn't make for a good relationship. I understand them both. So I don't have a toxic relationship with either of them. They just have a toxic relationship with each other. And no one likes to hear Ruby, because Ruby is just unbiased and too logical. But he kept coming back. Why? Because he couldn't go to his boys and have his boys look down on his baby moms because this, and this. He couldn't go to his family, so his family could go, see, I told you so. I hated that chick. So who do you keep turning to? The one person he could speak to that he knew wouldn't look down on him, wouldn't look down on her, would still love everybody at the end of the day, but give him some solace. And a man is incredibly troubled emotionally, mentally, when he gets to that point where he is driven. He's driven to find a connection with someone new and out of the way, because he needs to bear a soul. He can't keep it to himself. He can't work on it himself. He needs someone. That's when things are really bad.
Well,
That's true.
I will I've taken into account of what you guys said as far as the intimacy, but that was one of the things I mentioned in the letter, that was gone, and it's been gone for a long time. Now, as women, that's one of the first things we pull back on when we lose respect for a man is sex. We don't want to give ourselves to that man anymore.
Right.
And that's the bottom line. That's just how we do it.
That's not going to work.
Exactly.
No, ma'am. I'm sorry, but I'm sorry, ladies, if y'all think I'm sounding chauvinist in this, but I'm not going to be in a relationship too long that a woman uses sex as the means to the ends. Oh no, ma'am. No, don't do that.
You know what though, music? I don't think. Well, I mean, I can't speak for Shar, but there's a difference between the manipulation and just what it is. Like when you no longer have that respect for a man, he loses your respect, he loses your trust, whatever. It's not about like playing a game with it. It's
But
just
that
more like there's that vulnerability and intimacy. Like I'm supposed to allow you to penetrate me, but I don't respect you and I don't trust you or whatever. Like, no, I can't. You know?
yeah,
Right. That is
okay.
what I'm referring to. So
Right.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure that's what this woman has done. But go
I,
ahead.
Mhm.
I can see, maybe the thing about he has to ask himself what. I guess the final question is when did he stop? When did she stop respecting him, and and how long did he allow it to continue before he finally just said enough is enough of it?
Yeah.
I I
Yeah.
I think. Well, I don't think he even said enough is enough of it because he's still in it,
He's
right?
still
Now
in
that
it. Yeah.
right, that's it. Right now that
Yeah.
I'm listening to it and listening to you guys in a complete different light, is I really think he is. He doesn't want to get rid of this woman. He doesn't want to end his family, so he doesn't feel comfortable talking to his boys. So he feels more comfortable talking to strangers about it through somebody else.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I am very happy that the man that the young man that wrote the letter asked Shar for her advice on this because he is banned from giving all kinds of advice henceforth.
Yeah, yeah. Don't do
With,
that no more. Yeah,
yeah, don't
don't do
listen to
that.
him.
Don't do
No,
that no more. So if
no, you
you, if
know,
my man, the originator of this conversation here, if you are listening to this, listen to all of us tonight. Don't listen to him no more.
no, no, no,
I think that's unanimous. Don't listen to
no.
him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or you can listen to him and you'll end up like old dude in Virginia getting hit by a car and getting a
Uh,
bumper thrown on you.
oh my goodness,
Yeah,
tragic.
that's
Tragic, you know.
Please,
not
please,
useful. But
Yeah.
don't love me that much. Please, no, thank you.
Mm-mm. Catch
I
that
don't want
Lionel
that.
Richie.
Right,
Catch that Lionel
Tragic.
Richie.
right,
you
right.
know what? I think the thing is, a lot of times when we talk about these stories, we don't take enough time, I think, to discuss this really important factor that comes up over and over again when people say, "I'm staying for the sake of the children," right?
Hmm.
Not recognizing that you staying in a dysfunctional relationship, even if there's no physical abuse or, it's not like that, there's no cussing at each other. But when you lack love and respect, and or just even basic real respect, let alone love in a relationship, y'all can't even be friendly as far as the way that you interact with each other because you have no respect for each other, and your children grow up watching that. You have to realize that that's actually doing them way more harm than good. And when we talk about the effects of having a two-parent home and how much better that is for kids, the actual dynamics of the family do matter. And people need to start recognizing that. I know a lot of us don't, because so many of us, especially in my generation, came from single parent homes where all they wished for is a two-parent home and thought that that would magically solve all their problems.
Huh.
Uh, but in fact, no, you didn't want your daddy and your mama to stay together, even though they fought all the time, even though they hate each other, even though they're disrespectful to each other, because that teaches the kids, right? The boys are gonna model after their fathers as far as what a man is supposed to be and how a man treats a woman, and is gonna expect women to behave the way mama behaves towards daddy, and vice versa, right? Little girls are going to be modeling themselves after mama as far as what a woman's supposed to be and how a woman treats a man, and expect the way that daddy talks to mommy. Well, that's how men are supposed to speak to her and treat her. So, you have to remember there's a lot of modeling going on, even if you don't mean to, even if you're verbally teaching your kids different lessons. What you model for them, what you show them on a day to day basis means more. So, y'all need to stop staying in these dysfunctional ass, terrible relationships for the quote unquote sake of the kid, because you are harming your children and it's not for the sake of your children. And, DeAndre, going back to the point you said a lot earlier, right? Women will say they're staying for the sake of the children, and it's more likely that women will stay for the sake of the kids, but not in the way that we think. And they're using that, they're hiding behind that smoke screen of two-parent home is better. But really, men are staying for the woman Women are staying for the men. You're staying for the relationship. You're staying for fear because you don't want maybe the fear of being alone, having to try to support the kids or take care of the kids on your own. You're scared of what the social repercussions will be of being a divorcee and people looking down on you because you allowed a relationship to fail, whatever the case is, right? But it's very, very rare these days that people are actually staying in the relationship literally because they think it's better for the kids. And now I'm telling you, it's literally worse if it's that bad. So leave. Just leave.
I would agree with that, Ruby, because think about this: a woman or a man that cheats on a woman constantly, or vice versa, and you keep saying that you're staying in that relationship based on because there's some children involved.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely crazy. So you mean to tell me you would allow you would allowed to share your woman or your man with anybody else who comes along based on the relationship that you want to keep with your
Mm-hmm.
children? So aren't you teaching your children that's part of the normal dynamics of a family, to go out and have other multiple partners?
Exactly. And to be clear, right, coming from a culture that, I mean, Jamaicans are very much like that actually. For your grandparents to have a boyfriend, girlfriend on the side, and they always had one, and that's just grandma's friend or grandpa's friend. It's so like this is so normal having whole extra families. Like my grandmother had so many half brothers and sisters from so many random other women that she only found out in her 60s that one of her half brothers at the time was the prime minister of Jamaica.
See,
That's how many half brothers and sisters she had. So
Oh
I
wow.
mean, yeah, I know, crazy, right? But
Yeah.
the key importance here is that the way that it works is that a husband and a wife get together, right? And as long as everyone is taking care of house and home properly, so you're being a good wife, you're being a good or husband, you're being good parents, the all the bills are taken care of, cleanup is taken care of, whatever. Now you're going to go out with your friends, whatever you want to do in your spare time is your business, as long as it doesn't affect the house, doesn't affect the spouse, no one ever hears about it, you're discreet, no one ever sees it, it's fine. You can actually live a whole extra life and it would actually be fine as long as it doesn't impact home. If you start taking time, attention, money, stuff like that, that you should be giving to your wife and kids and giving it to some outside woman, then you're wrong. That's when you're failing, because you know what? That's when the family feels it, everyone feels it, versus, oh, it was a little dalliance you were doing when you were out at some club. It didn't mean nothing, and whatever. You could go home refreshed and happy because your wife is tired right now. She don't want to sleep. Like, as weird, as messed up as that sounds, right? A lot of those kids thought that they're like, oh, I was in a my parents never cheated on each other and blah blah blah, and they only found out in their adulthood that they were wrong, and it blew their minds, kind of shook their whole worldview because they're all westernized, right? And they couldn't
Well,
understand.
because you never know what goes on between a woman and a man. A
Hmm.
relationship between a woman and a man is a very intimate relationship. So that those types of things are very shocking. When you find them out about your relatives, like your mom, your dad, your grandma, you'd be like, oh my, but nobody
Hmm.
knows what goes on between a woman and a man except that woman and that man.
Nobody. And to be clear, like I had a friend and she was 18 when she found out her parents were separated. Now, I had slept over at her house countless times. She had the best parents and they were so in love with each other, or so we thought. Meanwhile, they had separated when she was like 8, before I had ever even met them. But they loved each other. They were best friends with each other. It's just the relationship didn't work. So they still slept in the same bed for the sake of the kids. That was for the sake of the kids. And they cared about each other. They supported each other. They loved each other. And they would lie in bed at night and discuss the kids and the house and the finances, talk about the people they were dating and whatever, because they were still best friends, right? But they just weren't in love with each other anymore. Now,
Hmm.
that is staying together for the sake of the kids. When you're still showing the kids, you're still modeling, because you actually feel inside a very healthy love and camaraderie with your significant other, and you guys are still a really healthy, functional unit together. If you said, well, everything is like, we're really, really great. It's just, we don't sleep together anymore. Okay, that would make sense to me. But if you guys
Hmm.
are hating each other, disgusted at each other, disrespecting each other in front of the kids, not in front of the kids, all of that stuff, you're not staying together for the kids, because you know what? You're not giving the kids a safe home environment. a happy home environment, which is what they deserve, even if it means that mommy and daddy have to have their own separate homes in order for home to be happy and safe when they get there.
You're absolutely correct. I mean, those are two entirely different scenarios, where they're being amicable and the other one is not. The other one is quite toxic. And definitely, I believe that if it is a toxic environment where there is no respect, I mean, hey, it's like, hey, we're not each other's cup of tea anymore. Let's just keep it, 100. But for the sake of the children, let's be respectful. And she's not respectful. She just doesn't have any respect. And I just do not think that is a good situation for the kids to even be seeing. And what you think kids don't see, you just don't know. When I was a little kid, I was one of those kids that was very quiet. I didn't say much. And I would sit and listen. And because I didn't talk, it was quite forgotten that I was even in the room. Like, oh, Bond is in here. But I never said anything. Nothing in that room was ever repeated. I wasn't a tape recorder, but I was a sponge. You understand me? Yep. I was a sponge. So I picked up on a lot of things, as a kid, adults didn't mind having me, around because I never said anything. So I just sit there and I soaked it all up. So your kids, they see what's going on. Don't think they don't know.
They do.
Especially if there's no respect.
They see. Welcome to the panel, Regina. How are you, Miss Regina?
Hey, Miss Regina.
Hey, Miss Regina. Hi, girl. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, Miss Regina. How are you?
Doing well. Good evening, everyone. How y'all doing?
Good evening.
Hey, girl.
All right.
How are y'all?
Pretty good.
Hanging in there.
Yeah. Good.
Right? Last weekend of what? Is it the summer or is it just August? I don't know.
It's just August. I think I don't know. It's all jumbled up together now.
Right? Like Labor Day, the last weekend before Labor Day weekend. All right.
Right.
Doing good.
There you go. Yeah. Well,
so what you got to say, Miss Regina? I can't wait to hear what you got to say about this one.
No, oh my goodness. It's really sad to hear, but I know it happens every day. I know it happens. He's not the first man, and he won't be the last to go through this. It's unfortunate though, that she used him in that way. But it's one of the what do they say? It's a sign of the time. Everything it recycles itself. Everything happens. It happens in every generation where some young lady steps in, an older man, he's had his day, he's ready to do whatever it takes. I think that this will keep her here, and so he's going to do that to keep her there, and that doesn't keep her there, and so now what? And now she's disrespectful, and it's really unfortunate. What I would say to young women who are in that world, that life, it's going to be a downtime. That body ain't going to be the way it used to be.
Tell it.
Boy, you're telling me my fine lines. God damn.
Tell it.
Beauty's only skin deep. Beauty's only skin deep.
You got to balance it out. Life is about balance.
It's going to come to
balance.
And it's about gravity too. Forget
yes,
balance.
Girl. Yes.
Yeah,
Preach.
Sure is. Wait a minute. Them used to be up here.
Right. Not just that, the gravity on your face, man. I got a fine line, and it won't go away. And I'm using my Retin-A, and it still won't go away, y'all. I can't know what the
learn to love it.
Tragic.
And see, that's another thing. Wait a minute. Let's talk about that.
I'm gonna name it the wall right here. The wall.
That's what it is. Because if you wear that at bed at night, that's exactly what it is a wall.
You're good, girl. You're good.
That's exactly it. I'm exposing you tonight, Ruby. The wall, huh? Okay. That's exactly, fellas, that's what that means. When they come to bed with that makeup on and I got to get rid of these lines, forget it. It's over. Go to sleep, brother. Go to
Well,
sleep.
you ask Mr. Ruby. He does not see it as a wall at all. He sees it as an invitation. Here you go. Don't matter. I'm in bed. That's the important part.
Yeah. Okay. No, and so and then for I love what DeAndre said, you know, he should be the gentleman that or whoever's giving advice should be banned forever and ever. You don't speak to anybody else about it. If you don't write to JustAskChar, you don't ask anybody else for and you don't provide any advice to anybody else. It's truly unfortunate that's the way you want to give advice by sharing your indiscretions and your life. That's not how. If I'm trying to help you, if I want to see you help, and that's a key point in it. Evidently you're not trying to help me. That's what I would have gathered from that. You don't want to see me work through this or get through this, or because a good friend would have said, have you tried this, or what about this? And oh, well, damn, man, if you did all that, then I'm just gonna say chalk it up, whatever. A true friend to me, and that's to me, that's true friendship. If a female was to come to me with the same situation, he's not doing this, he won't do this, I would want my friend to give me the truth. I have friends right now that laugh about me. If you're going to stay, then you go ahead and stay there. But we're not going to have a pity party if you're not going to listen to me. If this individual is disrespecting you, calling you bees, and y'all in the grocery store, y'all walking out in the parking lot in the mall, get in the car and all this kind of stuff. No. And you have children with you. No. And I'm gonna let you know now that that's not, as a friend, that's not respectful. And then y'all go home, and then the entire apartment complex now here's your full conversation. Here's what's going on. They hear stuff, doors slamming, and the kids crying and all of that. No, as a friend, I'm gonna try my best to share with you. At least this is what I would do. Now, I'm not gonna tell you ever leave him, but that's not worth a relationship. Now, you take it as you want to. Now, if they stay, don't call me with that mess no more. We can talk about the sun, the moon, the weather channel. We can talk about everything else, but we won't talk about your relationship. And I will do. We can do that all day long. Girl, and what you doing with your hair this week? Whatever it is, what you wear to work this week? What you cooking? But it will not be about your relationship. It will
Right.
not.
Hey, sure. If you remember, some time back, we had a conversation with a friend of mine that actually went through this in person. Am I right?
Yeah, I was hoping to get him on the show.
Yeah,
Keep
yeah.
my fingers
Folks,
crossed, as they
we
say.
have folks. You really need to hear this guy, because everything that we talked about tonight, he actually went through it personally. And you can, and I wish I still had the recording of it. Sorry, I got to dig that up, but you could actually hear the pain of him going through it, step by step by step by step by step. I mean, it's as if this guy wrote this letter to Shar himself.
Wow. Wow. It's
Oh wow.
unfortunate. It really is. And I'm a strong proponent of, as you all know, it's not about staying for the kids at all. If I no longer respect you, you no longer are respecting me. No, that there's no need for us to be together. And I'm definitely no longer, especially if I'm no longer giving you my body. You
And
can
you
you
know
can
that's
call
not
me
happening,
whatever.
Miss
Yeah, that
Regina.
I can.
You
that
know
ain't
that
happening.
definitely is not
I can
happening.
tell you that right now. Not
There's
in my
nothing going
house.
down in
No,
that
ma'am.
bedroom.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
ma'am.
no, yeah, and
One.
I don't want to, and okay, so this individual had accepted their calling to Christ, so to preach, and so I'm like,
Well, okay. Well, tonight, tomorrow, you can belong to Jesus, but
you
tonight,
man, no,
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 no.
but if I don't know, if you're not taking care of this house, you're not taking care
oh,
of
I'm
this.
gonna tell right now. I can
Okay, so
understand that, Miss Regina. If I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do as a man,
right,
hey, no problem with that.
exactly.
I understand that. But
You,
if I'm doing all I
you can't
can as a
have it
man,
too.
right,
You
and
can't
you
have it
still
too.
you still disrespecting me, you still flapping at the mouth, I'm
Now.
paying the bills, and you withholding Miss Goody Two Shoes. No,
Right.
ma'am.
There you go.
Uh uh.
Because I struggled,
You got
and
to
I'm
go.
telling you, I struggled with that
Uh,
because I did, because I was like, okay, there are women who put up with more because there wasn't any physical violence, but that mouth was another thing.
Right.
And so,
Verbal
you know,
abuse and emotional abuse is something else too.
Yep.
exactly,
That
exactly.
that
And
rips and tears at you too, and it's actually more permanent. It's harder to heal from that than it is from like a busted lip or a cut above your eye.
Listen, I'd rather a woman slap me in the face than to tell me I ain't shit. That lasts longer.
Mm.
right. Yep.
You know what? I will
That's a deeper
say,
wound. That is a deeper wound. Exactly.
yeah, definitely. I will say probably one of the deepest wounds that anyone can get in a relationship, and y'all might have gone through it and not even realize that that's really what happened, is gaslighting. And people gaslight each other all the time. I know we talk about it a lot in the terms of like on YouTube and stuff. Oh, you're gaslighting, right? But people do this all the time in relationships, right? So it's almost like you'll go and question your significant other on them acting shady and signs of cheating, and then they'll make you question your own judgment, your memory, your sanity, and then have you questioning yourself. And even you went in there so sure that they must have been cheating, they must have, and they turned it into a, well, yeah, that's right, you're an insecure person, you've been cheated on before, how dare you make punish them for what you've gone through in the past, and blah blah blah, and you walk away now feeling like you're the bad person. Come to find out several years later, oh wait, they were cheating the whole time, right? That's gaslighting. And people gaslight each other all the time when they get caught doing something wrong, acting badly and whatever, rather than just own up to it and be honest and upfront, right? They gaslight you, right? Because they directly lying isn't just going to work. They have to make you feel crazy so that way the problem goes away and they can confront it another day. And more than anything else, because someone just insulting you, you can separate that, right? Or putting you down, you can separate that, unless it's like targeted abuse over long periods of time, right? I mean, you could separate that and be like, oh, they called me names because they're the asshole or whatever. Same thing with someone hitting you, right? But when someone gaslights you, you have to go through 5, 10, 20 years of that relationship and go back, and like that was 20 years of you questioning your sanity. How many times were they lying to you and then tripped you up in your own judgment? Then you have to learn how to trust yourself again and trust your own judgment again, trust your own sanity again. Like what people do in a moment, flippantly and callously, just to try to get themselves out of problems, can have such lasting psychological damage and trauma to the other person. And then, of course, in our community, we don't believe in psychological help and counseling and whatever. So we don't go get that help. And we run around with the effects of being gaslit for 20 years and get into what, another 5, 10 relationships before we realize, oh man, I'm messed up. I think I need some help for that, because I don't know what's real or not anymore. I don't know if I should trust people or not anymore. I don't know who's lying to me or not anymore. I don't know how to judge that anymore. Like it's really messed up what we do to each other. And I will say, especially in young relationships, from young people, because young people, um, uh, in that transition between being a teen and being an adult, you want to be an adult, but you still have childlike tendencies in a way, and you're just trying not to get in trouble. Right? You're not really thinking about the long-term consequences yet, right? That part of your brain only fully forms when you're 25. And so that's where you can get into an issue too, when you have younger people dating older people, right? Is you have younger people, they look like adults, the law calls them adults, but parts of their brain are still not fully adult yet. So they're reasoning and dealing with things like kids almost in a way, but you're grown, you've been through marriage, you've gone through all this learning process, you've been through war, like you are fully matured dealing with a kid, basically, in a lot of ways, right? And clearly a very selfish, manipulative kid. Beautiful women, if she was beautiful her whole life, never really had a reason to develop a personality, never had a reason to develop, all those characteristics that make you care about other people, because, life made life easy for her because she's beautiful. So, and he went and attached himself to something like that, and then attached his kids to something like that as well. So, I mean, honestly, and okay, fine, maybe we're demonizing this woman a little bit. I don't know. Maybe she's not as bad as the letter made her sound, and that's probably fair because, this is the guy's friend.
I only demonize her for the amount of disrespect that she shows to this man that she laid down and had 2 kids with.
Just imagine if
but we don't know.
I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that. She laid down and had 2 children with this man, and and just the way it sounds is like he's nothing. But you had 2 children with him.
Now I have to say this, right? Because I'm hearing this. I'm hearing the women on the panel and so forth, and and the word on the street from them over there is, women don't hold other women accountable. I guess y'all just debunked that real quick.
Somebody stop lying in here. Stop that. Don't do that in here.
I wasn't even looking at it like that. I was just like, that's just not correct. I'm like, that's cold. If she was just using this man, that is just cold.
It's not an if. She was absolutely just.
She was. Man, that's a fact and reality of life right there. I mean, we all know that it happens. I guarantee it. Each one of us on this panel.
Of the doubt, Betty over here. I do give the benefit of the doubt. Probably, maybe.
Too many times.
No, Vonda, the only thing you can question in this case is whether she was doing it on purpose or not. Remember, I said I was very manipulative, but I didn't mean to be. I wasn't trying to be manipulative. It was just my way of interacting with people. If I wanted something, if I wanted you to do something, I didn't know how to, be influential, persuasive. I was manipulative or not. I didn't know how to be anything in between. So, maybe she doesn't know she's being manipulative. But what I do know is that there's a way, even given that, right? Even given that, I was very careful to be thankful for what I got from people. Because even if I manipulated you into giving it to me, right? I didn't just do that to just anybody. I love you and whatever. I just don't know how to negotiate relationships properly. And I did know the difference between right and wrong. So I did know the difference between manipulating some puppy dog who's in love with me, who I don't even like, into giving me something versus manipulating my boyfriend into giving me something. But I love that man. I'll give him anything. Right. So there's absolutely a difference. And to be clear, that's why I said, I'm not trying to demonize her. I'm just going by the basics we've got in the story, even if I want to give her all the benefit of the doubt in the world, even if I want to give her all of it.
What I can see from the what we were given in the story. I mean, and granted, it's an outsider's perception.
But that's what he was hoping for.
Third party account. He heard it from his friend, and he's given the account to Char.
Right. Right.
And with a splash of his, opinion.
And I didn't mention your name, just in case it gets back to you. I didn't mention your name.
Yeah, there you go.
and what's telling from it is he's taken from what he's saying, and then when someone, like, if I was to ask Char, I have a friend, and this friend XYZ etc. happened, right? And I just give Char the information because I can't give him no answers. So maybe I'm giving him the wrong answers. So let me reach out to Char on this person's behalf, or reach out to another. And, can you help this person? Or let me put you in touch with him, and then maybe he can talk to you or whatever, right? Either way it goes. When he went on a tangent about what he did and said, well, he can't do that because he got kids and this is what I did. What he's doing is he's compartmentalizing, and they're being like trauma brethren, right? Like, and he's feeling the same trauma that happened to him, but the way he handled it. Now, did it fix the problem that he was in? You see what I'm saying? Like, did him doing that to his woman? And obviously it didn't, because she tried to make him jealous. And then this is what it is. And this is why I kind of looked at it and said, okay, he can't do what I did because I went ahead and cheated. Not only did I cheat it, but I brought the women in the house and made sure she found it. Right?
Left some hairs behind
and all this
everything.
Right?
He was quite slow. He was
He
sloppy.
was quite disgusting with his little account, but you know,
That's exactly what I'm
that's
saying. He wasn't
sidebar.
right. He wasn't. He kind of painted her as the villain, but he wasn't clean in it either.
Yeah.
That's right.
So even in the woman that did whatever she did or whatever to him, instead of sitting down and realizing it's not going, he did that to hurt her because he knows that's the only way to get back at a woman, is to bring another woman to show. Well, you say I ain't this and that. Not okay. I'm gonna show you how much I'm not this and that. I'm gonna show up with these other women that think I'm this and that. Now, what you gonna do about it, right? And then that's what he was doing. And he's saying, well, he can't do this. So with that basic, and this is why I came up with a little bit of that defense mechanism, not a defense, but I don't think she's reached that level of cheating on him yet, because if a person's kind of mirroring and telling you what they went through, but they seeking advice for somebody else, what it really is they'll use certain things in there and they wouldn't give that up unless the woman already cheated on him, because he would have said, well, the woman cheated on him already.
Yeah.
He believes that she's cheating, but that never came up. What came up is just the disrespect and what's happening, and what happened with the friend that asked for the advice for the friend.
She's on the cusp, though.
Oh yeah, no. He doesn't know. No. See, unlike the guy, unlike the friend's advice, the advice guy, right? Mm-hmm. He wanted her to know. She doesn't want her husband to know she's cheating on him, because then the fairy tale ends and she stops being able to have her cake and eat it too, right? But she is cheating on him because of the behavior. Yeah, but he doesn't know that she's cheating, right? It's just because in fact, if anything, she probably gaslights him. She probably gaslights him and lies to him constantly about it.
But if this friend definitively knew that she was cheating on him, he would have said
not a friend. He's not a friend.
And he would have already said it. So he doesn't know.
He's not a friend.
So he doesn't know. Speculation, because he doesn't know. He has no idea. But I'm telling you, if she's not cheating on him, she is right on the cusp, because the amount of disrespect that I hear is like I could just taste it. It's like,
I think when it gets that far, like, she's already cheated, and that's why. But like, he again, because men don't understand. Women,
his account, he could be being dramatic, you know.
Yeah.
Well, he's okay. Honestly, okay. I know maybe I'm being biased, but I feel like Army veterans are just not that dramatical. Like
no, I'm gonna give him that too, Ruby. I'm just gonna say
right.
I'm gonna agree with you too. I think she already cheated.
Real, then she just didn't cook dinner. She's working. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what the disparities are.
Right. Everybody knows, but everybody knows it but him. Man, your wife doing something, bro. I'm trying to tell you. I'm gonna speak to you as a true friend, my man. Listen, you can do what you want to do after this, but I gotta tell you, brother, your wife is being unfaithful. Brother. You ain't doing good by your kids. Every time I come over here, y'all arguing in front of your children, man. You talk about you staying for the good of the children. You call this good?
Yeah, dysfunctional household.
Right. You call this good?
That's right.
Yeah. What's going to happen is, and if they got a boy, if let's just say in the dynamic, and you get down to what the kids are. Right, and that's what I said. I was just being devil's advocate, and honestly, if you want to say it, like if you ask me just straight up, she's cheating. He's just dumb. He just ain't saying it.
He just not admitting it.
Or he knows and he didn't tell his homeboy that wrote the letter, because he like, oh, you's a simp. Like,
man, you ain't had to tell him. You ain't had to tell him that, bro.
Yeah, and if the friend didn't mention it, then that means he never said it because he knows. And see, the most disrespectful thing a woman can do to a man, in that sense, if he's doing all of this and he's doing right and he's taking care of kids, is that is the blatant disrespect. That is the over the top disrespect, and what he's doing is he's blaming himself, right? He's like, oh, I'm old, man. I did the Viagra. I can't get the Viagra going. I'm looking at this HGH. I can't. These little young hoppers. I can't wear these little tight jeans, and I can't wear these Chelsea boots. I just can't do it. I got these old Army injuries, and it's the thing, that comes within the society of, of being with that comes in the society of the hypergamous, the super hypergamous society that we're in, because you not only as a man, you not only have to make enough money for you and for your wife, but you gotta compete with your wife also uh, for money to provide, right? Because the way it's set up is that they can provide, and because they don't need you physically to be in the home by law for you to still provide for them, so forth and so have you, right? So he's in this bad situation where he can't go through divorce number 2, right? So what that means is he was married before and he got divorced. What if he had kids before and the wife, the ex-wife took the kids with her, and he's still paying for that support also?
Well, he
That's
might have a
Let me
good
possible.
ask you
chance
a
of
question,
getting
Dre.
these
What if
kids, if he
what
plays
if
it right and don't get all emotional and crazy about it. Be like, yeah, let Junior and little Tasha stay with me, and you can just go to work, and he might be able to work it. They can be amicable about it, because as it is, she sounds real busy. He didn't level up. The kids don't listen to her; they only listen to him, which means she's not spending that much time with them. So let him have the kids, but he needs to fight for his kids. Don't let that lady get them children.
No,
uh,
what he need to do? He need to be grown, because he ain't leaving. He ain't leaving. He's too old to leave. He ain't leaving because he want a solution to the problem. So I'm gonna
But
give you a
Dre,
solution
he
to the
has a
problem.
home. He has a home. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
like they don't have a place to stay. He already has a home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and you know what? At this point, she's such a boss, bitch. She may not have a problem with paying him child support, and
Mm-hmm.
she can see the kids on the weekend.
I don't think she want to see them kids at all. I say this is what
Hey, so he might get them free weekends. You know what I'm saying?
you know what he need to do. This is what I'm saying. He want to keep his family together, right? She's going in the corporate world. So if she gets a divorce
Mhm.
going up in the corporate ladder, she is going to actually lose all her promotions and her career is going to be stagnant. You know how they are in corporate world. They want you to be
Mhm.
married. If you're married, you're responsible, we can give you these promotions.
Mhm.
Especially if you're a woman and you got kids and then they met your husband because they had to meet the husband at some company
Mhm.
thing or whatever, and they find out he's a nice guy and they know what you do at work because they spend more time with you at work than they do with than your family do. And then if you, oh yeah, she was over there messing with Todd in the mailroom. Yeah, the Christmas party. Yeah, I caught him on the copier. Yeah, he was banging
Yeah.
her out in the broom closet, right? And then we just prognosticating here with this. But if you think about that in a clear sense, right? I'm going to tell you something that's pragmatic. You married a woman that's outside of your heirs, well, that's above your level when it comes to physical beauty and looks, and above your level when it comes to age. You became a sugar daddy. She has no inkling. The thing that you got is your children. Your children love you to death. They listen to you. They really don't want to listen to her because they see how she treats you. They're not listening to her because they love their daddy and they know what you do for them. So this is what you got to do. You sit her down, and then y'all do this. Look, check this out. You're not going to disrespect me in my house because I had this house before you got here, right? So I'm gonna give you 3 options. Here's the 3 options. Option number 1: you shall be respectful to me at all times. Okay. Um, you shall be respectful to me at all times. If not, then we'll work it out. We'll do a separation, and then I'll help get you some money for your apartment, and you can go over there. Option number 2, right? Far as us, we don't even have a physical relationship anymore. So look, you can openly do whatever the hell you want to do over there. Go over there, whatever got it, but don't bring the dude in the house. Don't let the kids see the dude or whatever. We'll sleep in separate rooms in the house. You got your room, your study, your whatever, because that's where you do work. We'll buy you a nice little California bed, and you be in that area right there, right? And you know what I'm saying. As far as it is, option number 3, you can fully get the hell out of the house, and here's the divorce papers, right? Those are your 3 options if you want to do whatever. Now she doesn't want to do the divorce because it messes her career up, and then she looks like a super harlot because everybody knows this guy is taking care of the kids. He put it through school and whatever, because she done bragged on it. Right? As much as bad as she talking about him, as much as good she was talking about him. Right? She was showing him off and everything was good until she hit that stride, or until he started, falling off a little bit. If she gets her a little open relationship thing, she gets to do whatever she wants to do. But what he gets to do is he gets to go find a replacement. Right? He gets to find a replacement. A woman that's about his age, that he can do whatever he needs to do, and he can get his emotional, physical support elsewhere. Now, what's going to happen is she going to get herself together because she ain't going to like that, or she going to pack it up and she going to go with her people.
I like the fact that you brought up the word replacement, because it's an angle I wanted to cover before we ended this topic, which is, remember, he was married before.
Married. Thank you very much, Ruby.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how much was this chick a rebound, and he made the mistake of marrying his rebound?
Well, or maybe this chick.
He was just being an old fool. He was just being an old fool, I think.
I think maybe this chick that he's married to now is the reason why he got divorced the first time.
Oh, well, how you met me is how you gonna lose
That's
me.
how you
You lose them. Yeah, that absolutely, it could be one or the other. And you know what? But see, that's the same thing. Whether you marry your affair or you marry your rebound after your marriage ends, that normally doesn't work out.
It doesn't
super
work
well.
out, does it? Nope.
No.
Sure doesn't. Reality sets in sooner or later. Wait a minute. You left your first all the stuff that you were doing in your first marriage that you was telling me the reason why your wife wasn't doing this. I see now. She was right.
Now, exactly.
She was right. So maybe that's where the level of disrespect started coming in.
Yeah, because you don't respect this man. I mean, but like we say, take it with a grain of salt, because it is from his perception of what he's, giving an account of.
Yeah.
How she's disrespectful. But he laid out the facts. This woman went to school. Now this man is not leveling up.
Right. Here's the thing though, Vonda. If all she ever said to him was, "You're not at my level," after all that he did, just plain facts as far as paying her way through school and, clearly supporting her through that, for her to be able to do this while being married with 2 kids, to me, that's disrespect enough.
Oh, hell yeah. I agree with that 110%, because it's like, to even be able to open your mouth and say that to a person that you laid down, spread your legs, had 2 children with, and it's like, oh, you don't level up to me. You need to get to where I'm at. It's like, okay, well, what?
Right.
There's no respect. That right there was, if those were the exact words, there's no respect.
Nope.
And my, heated advice would be, brother, walk away from that, because this is how people end up in the morgue for some crazy deranged, like what.
Right, it's going to continue. If you're still with this woman, my man, you're probably it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse.
You're right. DJ Music, you're right. You're absolutely correct.
You know what? This reminds me of a story. Story time with Ruby. So it wasn't me. Happened to a friend of mine. No, with my ex. So now he had we'll put it this way, right? He had been dating this girl since they were in high school. She was a few years younger, so she was basically like, sophomore when he was like a senior kind of thing, right? And so he didn't really have time for her because she's he was too cool for school. He's a senior, and so he wants to be seen with senior girls at the dances and stuff. So he didn't take her to the dances or in public or whatever. And honestly, for a lot of their 8-year relationship, he cheated on her and whatever, and drugs and a bunch of stuff. So things weren't really cool. But he started kind of settling down, I guess, because he decided he wanted to take his relationship seriously for 5 seconds. And then he realized at that point, like, she was just using him as an ATM now at this point. And it wasn't, she didn't set it up that way. He did. Because when she would come crying to him, he would be like, here's some money, go away, go shopping with your friends. Here's some money, go to the so and so with your friends. Like, basically, don't bother me with your feelings, right? So she set it up that way, right? She needs a ride somewhere, she needs some money for something. That's his role and responsibility, and then he doesn't have to bother paying attention to her. So, you know, he's over there at her house. Oh no, he's over there at her house one day. He got there earlier than she did. She said, wait inside. So he waits inside, and he sees on the computer she had written like something like along the lines of, you know, my man's coming over tonight. I'm probably going to have sex with him. Ew. Right?
Wow.
And he read that, and he was devastated by it.
Damn.
Yeah. Now he attributed that, interestingly enough, so he attributed that to the fact that he's uncircumcised, right? Now, remember, she's been sleeping with him for 7 years.
Okay,
at that
girl,
point.
stop it. Don't be it's like that's crazy.
Not the duck butter. He had the duck butter. He had the duck butter going on. He had his hood up.
Yeah, he had the hood up. So he attributed it to that. But
that's just horrible. That's
but
horrible.
remember that they've been sleeping together for 7 years. So I try to tell him, help him say, like, it has nothing to do with what you actually have. Ain't nothing wrong with it. It's the way you treated her. And honestly, which he found out after the fact, he started driving her, dropping her off at her friends' houses and stuff. He realized he kept dropping her off at the same house. Come to find out, she's sleeping with that dude. So he would drop her off and pick her up from the place with the man that she's sleeping with. Yeah. So then when they finally broke up, right? When they broke up, she actually ended up marrying that guy and having kids with him. She's still with him to this day. You know, it's 15, 20 years later, it's still together. Now, the point of the story, though, is to say, right, we don't know how this guy treated her at the beginning. We don't know, the other factors that happened. But you can kind of tell when a woman starts saying stuff. That's why I said, when a woman starts saying stuff like, you're not on my level, you're not good enough for me, and whatever, it's because she found someone already who she thinks is. Someone who makes her feel all good inside, and someone who's not doing all of the wretched things or the not good enough things she says you're doing, right? You're not good enough in this way, this way, this way. I found a guy who doesn't do all those things, who actually shaves every single day, who actually wears cologne, who actually doesn't wear ratty t-shirts, who actually wants to push himself beyond where he already is, who actually wants to do better than, good enough, who actually wants so on and so on and so on, right?
It's just basically the man that she's with, she don't like him no more.
There you go. Exactly. It don't matter what he did.
That's just bottom line to it. She just don't like him no more.
So, the Arabian Prince could come in on a flying carpet and everything he does and the way he looks down to the curl and the toe of his shoe is going to be amazing to her.
Yeah. Exactly, because it's not her man, and
it's just everything that's opposite. So she just don't like him no more, and I don't give a damn if they had like 14 children, unless they can work out an amicable, agreement on a compound. He needs to leave because she don't like him no more.
That's all. That's basically all that's left. Because if we're talking about this, it's too late, my man.
Two kids. It's only 2 kids. So don't act like it's so detrimental that you can't walk away with your nuts and your self-respect.
Right. Plenty of single parent households that made it. There's plenty of single parent households that made it.
Let's just cut it out. Keep yourself. We have mental health. That's why, we're messed up now. We have our issues already. So keep your mental health and, get your kids. She's not going to have a problem paying child support. It's a bill to her. And she can pay her bills because she's making that money.
Yep.
It's part of her personality or whatever. Do what you got to do. Get your kids and just walk away. Leave her be.
Or, you know what I was just realizing, guys? I just thought of something. I don't know why I didn't think of it before, but one thing, right? So not everyone comes out of, the war unscathed, especially actually, saw combat. And they work together. We're not like, I mean, he might have had, some type of PTSD, something like that. He might be living off of, the government as far as, disability and whatnot, some other type of services that allowed her free education. Because
You
like
get a
I know
check.
that your kids will get free education. Will your spouse get free education if they're married to
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
Yep. They
yep.
got that.
There
As
you
long as
go.
they got that brown ID card, they get all the
Right.
privileges.
So there
Mhm.
you go. So it might be a case of that is he's on disability. He had the money coming in from disability. She married him. That allowed her to go to school, right?
Mhm.
Because you said what, 6 years? They've been
Yeah.
married for 6 years, so that's long enough to get a
Yes.
degree. That's 4 years of degree. A couple kids in there because you have to sleep with them sometimes to
Yeah.
keep married and keep
Yeah.
that
So accidents do.
enrollment free,
Right.
right?
Accidents do happen.
Yeah. So I'm just saying. I mean, there's another factor there though that maybe, and that's where I don't know. Like I said, to me, it just seems like a really insecure, beat down, broken thing that a man does that he's gonna be so scared to talk that he has to call this guy so regularly to slowly build up talking to him more and more and more and more and more frequently and scared to say what's really on his mind for so long that his friend has to confront him and be like, yo, what are you doing? Right.
Right.
So that tells me that, there is something more broken and beat down. Now, I was assuming initially maybe it's the relationship, but he
Mhm.
could actually have those issues, from his time in the military. And the guy didn't want to disclose that because, veterans and blah, blah, blah. Maybe he just didn't want to bring that part of it out, but he might be having a lot of struggles when it comes to stuff like that. And, that would have made him a target for a user even more so. Right.
Well,
Um,
well, right.
because users are really good at seeing who can they manipulate, who can they use, who has buttons that they can push to get what they want.
No,
That's
that's true.
unfortunate, but true.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That is true, Ruby. Like, but and I'm just saying from a military standpoint, when I get guys reach out to me all the time that I haven't talked to in years, and they'll do that. They'll still do that. The reason why it's from a military standpoint, the reason why it took him a long time to say what he was going to say
Hmm.
is because, and especially if you know people in the military.
Hmm.
If I was with if me and the elder I was in the same unit or platoon with him and we were close, right? And it's years later, I catch him up on Facebook and I say, "Hey, how you doing? How's everything with you? How's everything going? How's everything going?" Right? And within maybe say 2 more conversations, I just
Right.
go blah, right? You know what he's going to tell me? He's going to go in military mode. Okay. So how long has it been going on?
Mm.
Uh-huh. 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 And when did you notice it was a problem?
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What
Right.
was this?
Right.
We'll start asking you questions, and then you're going to
Right.
understand where these questions are going to go, and you're going to
Right.
realize that it's your fault that this got here. So what he wanted to do
Right.
was build up that thing, and you went through what I'm going through now, so I'm going to get you to ask me what's really wrong because you can sense something's up. And because I'm throwing you little signals here and there, and then the next thing you know, I can go blah, and then you can like, oh man, it's okay, it's all right, because I went through the same stuff, and this is
Right.
this, and this is what I did. Let me go find
Right.
somebody that can give you some real answers because what I did ain't gonna give you a solution to the problem that you want because you need to leave, but you ain't leaving. So let me
Because
ask this woman over here.
right. So it's obvious. Right.
Mhm.
It's obvious you ain't listening to me, brother. I mean, I'm your man. I'm your ace, and you still ain't listening to me. So I'm gonna go write this letter and send it over to these folks, and you listen to them. But man, I done tried everything. Matter of fact, I am tired of listening to this.
Yeah, that's what it really is. That's what it is. That's how military people are. We need solution. We do
Right.
not like circles. We hate circles.
Right. How
Oh,
many
I thought
times
you
you
loved
go?
circles,
Right.
huh?
Right.
What
Right.
happened?
Right. How many times you gonna tell me your woman messing up? How many times I got to come over here and hear you arguing with her? How many times you gonna tell me she called you out your name, bruh? Man, you ain't had enough yet.
What is you doing?
Right? What you doing? Really? I thought you was a man. I know what, my man. I can tell you, you just lost your identity. You just gave it to her, didn't you?
Mm,
I mean,
Ow.
You're acting real
mm,
non-binary right now. I can hear it.
sometimes you have to walk away.
Mhm.
Even if
yeah.
you still love the person, sometimes you have to walk away because it's not healthy. It's not, where in the headspace where you should be.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Love is just a 4-letter word like shit, damn, and fuck.
Yep. Yep.
But it's true though. It's true.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you usually use each one of those words together. Shit, I should have fell in love with it. Damn it.
Well, you
Right.
know what though? Love, fear,
Mm-mm.
attraction, desperation, a lot of feelings, hate, a lot of feelings are literally mitigated by the exact same areas of your brain, as
Hmm.
in they are exactly the same. The only difference between them is your perception. So what are you attributing to all of these sensations? And they've done countless studies actually to confirm that this is true. They put you into a terrifying situation, for example, and then have a woman interview you in the middle of a bridge. You will judge that woman, and this bridge is terrifying, right? Like it's like you think you're gonna die at any moment, and then they have some woman interview you in the middle of the bridge, or they have a woman interview you at the beginning of the bridge or at the end of the bridge, right? When you're safe. At that point, you will judge the woman who is in the middle of the bridge as being super attractive, even though it's the same woman, right? She's pretty average, right? But when you're in the middle of that bridge and it's death defying and whatever, you judge her as being super attractive. Why? Because you were feeling all of the same feelings as you feel in attraction, only it was fear, right? But you're just going to associate them with the wrong thing. So we have to recognize that, right? That our brain might be sensing fear, our brain might be sensing arousal, like, fight or flight, which is not a good thing and whatever, but we are perceiving it as love. We are perceiving it as attraction. We are perceiving it as these feel good things when really it's not. And it's all about the label we smacked on it. So you're right. Love is literally a 4-letter word. Love is more an action than it is a feeling. As far as the feelings are interchangeable. We need to recognize that and stop making love or, oh, love is such a big, special thing. Is it though?
Yeah,
Is
for
it
the
Hmm.
really?
reason. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because and this is what some friends of ours would say, because on the day if I'm with you, on the days that I don't love you, I at least need to like you, and
Right.
enough to sit down and have a conversation and let's talk about, at least I can like you. I may not love
Mm-hmm.
you right now because love is something that it's thrown around so loosely now.
Mm-hmm.
I love you. I love you. Oh, love you too. Yeah, love
Yeah.
you
Mm-hmm.
too. Here's an emoji to match it. No,
Mm-hmm.
no, that's not what it is. You better not send me another damn emoji. I need to see
Right.
your actions.
Yep.
That means nothing to me. An emoji via text or, now if it's just, hey, how you doing? Thought about you, whatever. But that's not how you're going to continuously express your love because
Mm-hmm.
it may not be that love day. It may be the like day.
Right. Let's
Exactly.
hey, 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 listen,
It
hey,
depends. For
not
me,
today. Not today, shouldn't.
if it's that
Mm-mm.
flimsy,
Mm-hmm.
it's not love. Because for
Yeah.
me, if I love you, then you're very close to me, and I just don't give that just to any and everybody, and it's so vulnerable. Love for me is so vulnerable that I can't love everybody because I would have to open myself to love you, and if I love you, if you hurt me, it's going to be devastating for me. It's going
Mm-hmm.
to be devastating for me. So when we're talking about a life partner, a spouse, a significant other, that means
Mm-hmm.
a lot to me. So I'm not just going to give that to any just random person. You're going to have to mean a lot to me. You're going to have to be special to me for me to even give that to you, which means that I am the most open with you and you can hurt me. You can
Mm-hmm.
hurt me. And I don't give that to just anybody. I don't give that to just anybody. So to me, that's very special. And I don't know. I just did not hear not one lick of stitch of love in any of this with these two individuals.
Right. Well, I mean, I heard he loved her. Mm-hmm.
You know what time it is, people.
Oh, Char.
Oh, you know what time it is.
She's right at 2:30 and 53 seconds. Okay,
we got to go.
She don't play.
We got to go.
All right.
Good about a great conversation.
Can I say it last thing? And Ruby don't fuck up all the time.
You could try.
We'll go off like the TV.
You'll be talking to yourself in the backstage.
But you're right, Vonda. There was no love anywhere. Nowhere.
No, not at all.
Well, the dad loved the kids, and I'm glad about that. But I hope you guys can tune in tomorrow for article reaction. I know some of you all know what it is. But those who don't, I'll play the commercial on the way out. But thank you, everyone, for joining the panel. I appreciate the conversation. And those in the chat room, thank you so much. And those that contributed to the channel, I want to thank you also. Tomorrow, article reactions at 6:30 p.m. Central. And come on and join the fun.
Thank you, Char.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it.
Good night, folks. Great conversation, ladies, gents.
Cheers,
I had
y'all.
a good time. This is fun.
That's how it's done.
Right again.
All right, everyone. Peace.
All right, bye.
Peace. Out.
Hey, folks, it's your nighttime. It's your right time DJ Music. Make sure you join Char Willie each and every Saturday, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, for article reaction, right here on your local YouTube channel. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe to Article Reaction.